New York City, socialism wins. Hogwatch, centrist, plus right-wing edition. Iran negotiations continue. I mean, what a fucking night last night was, huh? I'm glad that you guys were a part of it. And honestly, obviously, there's a lot of you that are in here that are literally in New York DSA. Like many of you are, watching. And you went out and you door knocked. But an even greater number of you don't live in New York City, but your impact was felt in New York City. And I'm really proud of this community. Holy shit. Really proud of you guys. All right, give me a fucking blast off meme. Come on. Let's do it. Give me a blast off meme. Let me blast off real quick. Okay. Huge train talk drama must watch. I like that we're... Do you see your boy JC Polanco? Oh, did he have some words to say? Did that little man have some words to say, JC? Little guy. Oh, we'll look at all of this. We'll get the tweets lined up. We'll get the fucking tweets lined up, dude. Don't worry. We'll get there. Hold on. Hold the fucking phone. Hold the fucking door. Okay? We're going to do a very special episode of Hogwatch today. My voice is a little coarse, and I apologize. I apologize if I sound like RFK Jr. today. Part of that is obviously because I've been, I had a couple drinks last night. I'm an old man. I get a little drink in, get my drunk on. All of a sudden. Actually, I didn't even... Low key, I don't know what it is. Normally, 2 whiskey doubles, and I'm fucking out, right? Like, I'm drunk, and then I'm super hungover for like the next week. Nothing. Not even a little bit. And I haven't drank in a very long time. So it was actually kind of surprising. Because when I don't... Yeah, double scotch, light on the rocks. But... Usually, if I drink for the first time in a long time, it fucks me up for like the rest of the week. This time it didn't happen. No such reality took place. You're still drunk, bro? Maybe. I'm still pretty drunk with excitement. Drunk with excitement. Because my God, what happened last night?
I seen him.
My God, what happened last night was incredible. Zoram
walking towards me, and it was kind of like he was walking on air. I had to picture myself as he was like Black Jesus to me.
For the first time in my life, a human being didn't look real to me. I literally seen his aura.
Okay, dude. Okay. Hassan drunk off the reflecting pool water. That's right. I made a quick pit stop in Washington, D.C. Sucked on that Brando. Sucked on that delicious Mountain Dew coming right out of that reflecting pool. Green, American flag blue. I don't even give a fuck. THR mentioned you? Okay, that's probably not good. I don't know. Okay, maybe it's positive. I don't know. We'll see. The drops like he was badgering Espaillat while you were talking to voters yesterday is funny. No. That's my goat, okay? He's not a drop site kid. Let's just not reveal his identity, but that's definitely that's one of the bravest and strongest warriors that we have at our disposal. Okay, that is the bird dog. He was draining aggro. No, that's my goat. Remember when he came up? He's like, "I know you like the numbers. I got you some numbers." Radical Espaillat supporter. We'll cover all of that. Hold on. Let me fucking blast off real quick and get my bearings straight. Look, listen. Brace cost me a fan almost. Bro, yesterday was a fucking movie, dude. Yesterday was a movie. It's kind of wild because like we have a lot of older viewers nowadays who just straight up go, oh, you're doing IRL? Fuck you, kill yourself. You know, I'm a 9-to-5er. I need to get access to, you know, international news immediately. If you're not Al Jazeera for me, if you're doing anything that's not Al Jazeera, then I will never watch you again. And they just like tune out. And they missed so much. They missed so much incredible shit that happened. It was cinema. It was cinema through and through. There were so many moments that were unbelievable the entire way from start to finish. I don't even know how to explain it. Motherfuckers missed out on a socialist journey. Okay? Hold on. Oh, God. I grabbed it. All right. There we go. Mero's son asking Brace if he's gay. Brace Belden almost getting canceled because of a misunderstanding. And then the Uber driver literally turning around and being like, I'm actually a fan of yours. And when I realized it was you, I was like, oh, maybe there's a misunderstanding. What a fucking journey. He almost cost me a fan. I don't got a lot of those. The bird dogging incident, Ryan Grimm, professional journalist, Ryan Grimm. The last hour was unbearable with the sound issue. Was there a lot of sound issues? Yeah, it fucking cooked Brace.
Would you say
It traumatized him.
he said something about the shooter of Canada?
I'm the chair of DSA's Rural Organization Subcommittee. I sent you your team a message about a rural canvas. All right, we'll get there. Yes, your TVU's going to shit. Yeah, random Netflix actor on the street, and we kidnapped him, and we forced him to go to the polls to vote for Claire. We converted an Adriana Espaillat voter, a likely Adriana, or not Adriana Espaillat. What am I saying? Reynoso. A Reynoso voter, and then we converted him. I mean, we purchased ties. What a fucking journey. What a goddamn journey it was. It was incredible. I think he said, didn't he get arrested in Montreal real quickly? And it almost sounded like the N-word. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what he said that could have sounded like that. Yes. We got the hogwash. Don't worry. We got the hogwash. But generational stream, generational movement, moving generations, intergenerational movement. And honestly, it was spectacular. Wall to wall, man. I am the most fortunate guy on the planet. I know I eat a lot of shit on a daily basis, and I know you guys are aware of it. But honestly, nights like last night is what makes it all worth it, okay? That's it. That's what this is about. That's what this shit's about. That's what this has been about, okay? I mean, what a night. Couldn't have gone better. I mean, I guess, Conrad, that's it. You and Emma celebrating through the stream, glitching had me crying. Soup pull-ups in the park, losing your backpack, aggressive protesters doing the most. It was cinema. Yeah. We did it all. Blonde twink. Hey, put some respect on it. That's the bird dog, okay?
Why are your pol-sci workers yelling about Muslims in America, yelling about Haitians? It is true. This is the type of thing you create. Do you realize how harmful that is, Octo?
This is what you do.
I mean, it feels very inappropriate to me to create more division, Congressman.
Go to your candidate and campaign. Let the voters speak.
The voters should not have to deal with racism while they're trying to vote. The voters shouldn't be berated for their identity.
Bird dog. Bird dogging.
You storm into the office.
Listen, for all intents and purposes, I have no idea who this wonderful, young, very brilliant Harlem voter is. Don't know who this guy is. Probably from the district. And clearly very perturbed about the events that had unfolded. As you can tell, I'm not on camera. Even though you might think this is the Hasanabi broadcast, I'm not on camera. What was I doing at the time? Giving pamphlets. Giving away pamphlets, having wonderful conversations with the voters in this district, hoping to turn them into voters, non-voters into voters, and voters into Daria Lisa voters. I was not, I wasn't doing anything. I was not, wasn't he in New Jersey with you? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about at all, sir. Political mentioned you in the last paragraph. Nice. Low-key, he cooked on that one part. Yeah. I hold on. We're gonna get to it. Okay.
I know you're a numbers guy. You like the number.
Yeah, I do like the number.
Turn out.
I don't know. That could be a reference to anything. Okay, that could be a reference to anything.
Turnout is pretty flat across the board here, which is not necessarily a bad thing for her because Espaillat really needed to juice like older Dominican turnout.
Yeah.
And like Inwood, east of Broadway. I know you're a numbers guy. You like the number.
Yeah, I do like the number.
Workers yelling about Muslims in America.
Yeah, that could be anything, really.
You're on the street. You're being held accountable, Congressman. Do you have anything to say about all of the money that you've taken from AIPAC? Are you okay with the fact that you've taken money from donors who support genocide, Congressman? Like $600,000 in spending on your behalf, and your supporters are such cowards. Your supporters were such cowards that they had to use a pass-through because they're unwilling to use money of UDP's name. Everybody knows what it is.
You guys are desperate.
I like that Ryan came in professional and was like, hello, Congressman. I am Ryan Grimm of Drop Site News. I believe I've interviewed you in the past for Politico, but he didn't understand that part. So he was like, oh, yeah, I think I remember Drop Site News from, my first race that I won. No, he doesn't, because Drop Site News didn't exist back then. Doesn't matter. And at first he was not sympathetic to Ryan at all. But then when he got bird dogged, and then he was like, is this guy with you? And Ryan was like, I don't know this guy. He's like, okay, maybe I will give you an interview. But yeah.
You have your supporters attacking people on the basis of their race. You're bringing division and racism to this country. It's disgusting. And you have no shame. Hundreds of thousands of AIPAC.
Like, these are party machine guys, okay? Old school, been in the cut, I assume, been in New York politics for a minute, right? They're there to support turnout for Espaillat, and now they found themselves yelling at this guy who's bird dogging Espaillat. Like, it's such a funny dynamic. DSA has added over 900 members within the past 24 hours. Sheesh. All right, that's good. We got to get those number. I know you like the number. I'm a numbers guy. I like that number. We're going to talk a lot about other number tonight, okay? Anyway, so then this guy, Iran, if you're listening, this Espaillat guy turns around and goes,
you can stop the genocide, bomb Israel.
You can stop the genocide, just bomb Israel. Listen, Unk, you were dabbing up one of the bodyguards, my dude. I don't think I was, but even if I was, I don't know. Maybe they were chill. I bought a ticket to the Fear End live in Portland. I'm excited. Hell yeah.
You can stop the genocide, bomb Israel.
Yeah. Thank God this was at the last hour, because judging by the interactions I have with the constituents in this district that Daria Lisa will now be representing, I'm going to tell you something, okay? Some of this stuff wasn't on camera, so you didn't see it. I was talking to aunties that were unbelievably radical, that were looking at me like I ain't shit. I was out there trying to prove that I am a legitimate force for a legitimate force against American foreign policy to these aunties that were like 75 years old telling me about how the United Kingdom is the greatest evil any country has ever seen. Okay? No, I'm not even joking. There were aunties that were just like straight up, Israel's bombing hospitals. No one's saying anything about it. I'm like, no, I am saying something about it. So honestly, if they had seen this man, if this was, if this was Espaillat's closing message, it would have been a tougher fucking race, dude. How much dubs is that for New York again? I've lost count. Just join us already? Maybe. The thing that has happened is a lot of people are always like, oh, when are you running? I'm like, never. And now the other chant is, when are you moving to New York? And my services are needed all around the country, not just New York. Even though I love New York. My God, I love New York. Anyway. Fuck. What street is your penthouse going to be on? Billionaires Row. Duh. You kidding me? Obviously. To be honest, how/why are you not an actual DSA member at this point? It's a secret. But I won't tell you. Because, guys, I am an independent media figure. Okay? So when people ask me questions about whether or not, like an interview that I did earlier today, whether or not I coordinate with the Democratic Socialists of America, I tell them I'm not. I'm a sympathizer. I like what they have to say. As an independent content creator, I very much enjoy what these guys, these young whippersnappers are about. I don't really know them that well. I'm not even a member. I'm not. And then, it's just, I randomly found this thing. But you should definitely join the DSA. 100%. In any case, I'm just an enjoyer of socialism. Not even an enjoyer. I'm just an admirer from afar. Call me Henry Kissinger, the way I'm doing strategic ambiguity. But in any case, my price went up, says the socialist. Oh, but I thought everything was free with these guys. Yeah, it's free. You just... Also, it was a fucking joke. I was drunk, okay? I'm obviously not only working with Democratic Socialists, okay? Calm down, everybody. I was a little drunk last night, okay? Maybe I got a little heated. Maybe I was in my feelings a little bit, okay? Plot thickens with the unk? No. The voter here supporting Espaillat turns out to be Larry Seabrook, former state rep and city councilor who went to prison for fraud. He's ironically able to vote because of legislation in Albany that restored felon voter rights, a law championed by Mamdani. He's the one who said, if you want to stop the genocide, bomb Israel, which I think I missed when he said it. Ain't no fucking way. Oh, how the turntables, bro. Ain't no fucking way how the turntables. Oh my God. Yeah, see, Zoran is championing too many good causes that might backfire on the movement. Okay? Goddamn. Holy shit. Ay, ay, ay. I got up to pick up something and I forgot what it was. Anyway, it's fine, probably. But yeah. This is like with the Bolsheviks, like women go to college and then Ayn Rand got an education. Oh my God. True. 55K likes. Yeah, people were real mad at me on this too. That was really funny. Dude, I saw so many fucking ultras chirping at me, which is really ironic because Daria Liza is, you know, somewhat of an ultra herself. I love her. And obviously, you know, this community worked tirelessly to get her elected. And it's really funny that there are still people who are like, not good enough. What you're doing pales in comparison to what I'm doing, which is posting. Okay, well, it turns out you can post and also run for something and win. How about that? You should maybe get excited about that prospect, don't you think? Okay, but it's just like really funny that all of these guys are like, oh, he said he's not a terrorist. Half of the people that saw this clip said, no, he is a terrorist. Like all of the right wingers were like, obviously he's a terrorist. That's why we're calling him a terrorist. Think about how Muslim man he is. And then the other half were like, he's saying he's not a terrorist because he's not a radical. His job is to sheepdog people into the Democratic Party. I was like, all right, dude.
I wish they stopped calling me a terrorist. That's what I wish. I wish they stopped calling me a radical. None of these people are radical. They just want health care. They want to end American militarism. They want to spend money on roads, on infrastructure, on schooling, on health care rather than bombs. Oh.
I was trying to drive home the point that, like, what these ideas are, they're considered radical by a lot of out-of-touch people, but the reality is, it's what the people are demanding. And people misunderstood the point that I was making. Where they were like, oh, he's saying he's not a radical. Well, we're all radicals. Like, fuck you. I'm like, all right, dude. Just, yeah, you're the real radical. You're posting a lot, man. I know. You know, keep posting into oblivion. I promise one day. Their cope is so funny because they're like, well, it's better. Not doing anything and just posting on Twitter is actually better than rehabbing the image of the liberal Zionist genocidal Democrat Party. It's like, all right, dude. All right, dude. Sure.
Overseas, because it seems like for far too long, that's what our focus has been. And not the focus of the American people, but the focus of the American government has been in that direction. We have to put an end to our endless militarism.
That was for Politico. That wasn't for Shutterstock.
And we have to focus on ourselves, and we have to heal this nation and repair it. What's up? What else?
You're doing it again. Please make up your mind if these weirdos are motionless or worthy of lecturing for hours a week. No, they are motionless, but it's important for them to understand how fucking motionless they are. This is me stunting on these hoes. You understand? This is me fucking, you know, twisting the knife a little bit. Because last night is living proof that the centrist Democrats that chirp endlessly on Twitter have zero fucking motion in the outcome of these elections. And the ultras that are endlessly chirping on fucking Twitter also have zero outcome on these sorts of elections. At the end of the day, elections are still a process where a lot of people go out and decide to vote for a person, right? Like there's mass mobilization taking place here. And it's really interesting because they're just wrong on every front. They shit on the No Kings protest because they're like, this mobilization is going nowhere. It's like, bro, you're going nowhere. You ain't doing shit. Do something. I'm not saying voting is the end all be all. But like, do something, man. Do anything, please. Do anything but chirp, please, please, please. I beg of you, do something other than just fucking posting on Twitter. Jesus Christ. Yeah, and then this has been delicious to watch. Yeah. When a candidate loses, it's my fault. When candidates win, when candidates win, oh, fucking this guy didn't do shit. And look, I don't need to defend anything, okay? It's all good. You're right, King. I mean, it's true. I played a very, very small role in this, okay? All the credit goes to DSA. All the credit goes to the fucking DSA. All the credit goes to the unions. All the credit goes to the people, okay? This is a movement, and we all play a role in it, but we are, albeit just a tiny part in this much larger process, okay? This is even bigger. This is even bigger than the DSA. This is a movement that we are trying to create with the DSA, right? With the Democratic Socialists of America. It's bigger than Zoran. It's certainly a lot bigger than me, okay? I was the poll site canvasser on the blog in Harlem talking to you with Democracy Now!, pro-Palestine, older woman. It was really fun. Thanks for the experience. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay. Now I know your username. Now I know what you look like, motherfucker. If you talk shit in the chat, you better... I'll come find you. I know where you live now. But yeah, all jokes aside, he was there for that. That was awesome. That lady was like yelling at us for not being radical enough. And I was able to like talk her down by being like, no, I was on Democracy Now! Because she was a Democracy Now! Enjoyer. This auntie that was like 75, 80 years old was yelling at us because she was like, you guys are fake. You're not real enough. Why are you so problematic, Papa? Been around so long, this motherfucker forgot me? Yeah, that's true. I've met you before. She said, I love Democracy Now! It's the only channel I watch. And that's where I was like, I was able to like convince her that we weren't the ops, that we weren't fake. Because I was like, well, I was on Democracy Now! I'm telling you, like, I was showing her my Palestine bracelet. I was like, because, you know, there's a little bit, it was tough to get it across. She was very upset. She was really mad about Israel. It was really funny. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I was like, you don't understand. Auntie, much respect. I just got banned from the UK for my pro-Palestine advocacy. And then she was like, wait a minute. I seen you. She's like, I think I saw you on Democracy Now! I was like, yeah, I was just on last week. It was her number one issue. Israel was literally her number one issue. And then when I started talking about how the UK banned me, she then went on a tangent about how UK is an evil empire. It was one of the funniest. It was just such an incredible experience. I'm so glad I was a part of it. You do look like a Fed, though. Listen, we're changing that. We're changing that dynamic. All right, anyway. But yeah, dude, you got to remember, this is how it started, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, obviously, it's a lot more legwork than just this, but, you know, I met most of these guys for the first time in a shared workspace, right? Back when I still was rocking my big pants shit. I've moved on from that, as you guys have noticed. That was so, you know, 4 months ago. That was February, right? That was February. What is this?
She's not only
this clip. Oh my God. I don't even care about this one, dude. I got better balder ops. Okay. But yeah. What else was I gonna say? Bro dressed like Neo. So I will say, after being a lot more hands-on with this, with the DSA New York slate and seeing the limitations, I've already given Zoran credit for this, but I think him undercutting Chi a little bit. At first, I was obviously critical of it. I said it was the wrong decision, you know, but I do think that would have been a knife fight that probably would have changed the electoral calculus quite a bit, and we wouldn't have seen the sequence of victories we saw last night. because I think you guys don't understand like how much Hakeem could have activated, how much more he could have activated all around the city. Okay. So I think limiting the targets and having like Daria Lisa be the long shot, you know what I mean? Because like Claire was the likely W there, but Daria Lisa, and these have down ballot consequences as well, right? Because like DSA is not just running members for Congress, DSA was also running members for state assembly, state senators, and this is very important because these are reliable allies that can create a caucus within the local and state structure that will help advance Zoran's agenda, right? And it's not Zoran's agenda, but the Democratic Socialist agenda, right? Because there are a lot of party politics at play. Zoran also basically showcasing his muscle here as a winner inside of the city with these calculated wins also gives him a lot more leeway with the rest of the city, with the rest of the local government. And I think this was, I mean, look, the Daria Lisa race was close, and I think it could have turned out differently if we had disrupted more forces in the city. Because like Conrad got cooked split ticket because of the Dem machine politics, exactly, and he'll run again for sure, and he'll win next time. I mean, that's what happened with Ian Huntley too, so that will for sure happen. But there were a lot of moving parts, a lot of inside baseball, cross endorsements, things of that nature that I, obviously gave you analysis on the AOC Zoran cross endorsements and things like that. But ultimately, clearly it worked out. You know what I mean? And when you look at the numbers at the end, it shows. When you look at the numbers in the end, it obviously shows that like any more spread with the limited canvas operations and limited phone banking operations, and it might not have worked out. I mean, speaking of last second buzzer beater, you in this community, you who don't actually live in New York, played a significant role in this election. Okay? Because the greatest upset of the night was obviously Daria Lisa. They're calling it the Joe Crowley AOC 2.0, right? Daria Lisa comes in as an organizer who does not have a lot of experience in the world of politics as an elected, right? She's green, and unseats the head of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, Adriana Espaillat, who has had his own machine in New York City, right? His own turnout machine in New York City. That was a long shot race. And that race, initially, if it was a sleepy race that a lot of people were not paying attention to, had a higher likelihood for Daria Lisa to win. But once it became a nationalized race and it became a race where there was a lot of outside expenditure coming in, a lot of AIPAC money coming in the last hour, in like the last month or so, somewhat timed around the stream that we did together, and then obviously the Zoran endorsement that came right after, which is far more consequential, obviously, in nationalizing a campaign. And then the attack ads like started coming in nonstop, and I was worried. I was sweating, and it was an unbelievably close race. But in the last hour, that phone banking operation ended up in the first night, on the eve of the election, got 600 volunteers to call in. And we've obviously, pumped it pretty fucking hard. 600 people were smiling and dialing, many of them from this community. 90,000 people were called. Every single person in the district that had voted Democrat in the last 6 years was called. And there were more than 2,000 likely Daria Lisa voters identified in that process, which is unbelievably close to her margin of victory. Okay? So let's be real. It was yet another clear-cut example that you can play a role even if you're not directly in this district. Okay? And hopefully we're going to do that for Maylot Quiros in Denver, Colorado again. June 30th. Her election is coming up in 6 days against another incumbent, Diana DeGette. Okay? I was running those phone banks. This chat came through in a huge, huge way. New records for calls for positive IDs across the board. Over both days, we called over 200,000 people. Yeah. And Julie Gonzalez as well. That was only 2% of your viewers activated. Imagine what we could do with 10%. I agree. But these things build confidence. These things build confidence in people. The confidence to be able to do it again. Because now that you guys have a little bit more experience, right? Now that you have a little bit more experience doing these kinds of phone banking operations, you could do it with ease next time around. Now you know it works. Now you know you played a role in making history happen. Okay? So that was huge. That was huge. So yeah, you all played a role in that. Every single one of you that called up, you played a role in that. And you might have been the margin of victory. You might have been the vote. The voter that you convinced. Okay? You might have been the guy that went out and cast a ballot, cast a vote for Daria Lisa that ended up winning the damn thing. Okay? This is how we build momentum. Yeah. And of course, for people who are wondering if this is real or not, I mean, here is Gustavo, New York DSA co-chair. Gustavo informing me the night of.
From those phone calls alone, 2,000 identified likely voters for Daria Lisa, and that's currently her lead.
Yeah. I wish it wasn't localized in New York for now, since it's still yet to be proven that it can work nationally. For the average normie, and the media will keep using this crutch for now. Yes, I know. Who cares? Okay? As I always stress, what do I always say? And no one seems to listen. One, I'm not a fucking kingmaker, okay? I'm very clear on that. This is not about one person. This is not just about Zoran. This is not about me. This is not about this community. It's not even just about the DSA, okay? This is a movement, much larger than all of us, okay? But we all play a role. Every single person plays a role. And the other thing that I always say is that New York City is just the tip of the spear, okay? Yes, I also say get a nuke. I know. Stop. New York City is the tip of the spear, right? Obviously, it's a lot easier to organize in New York, and the DSA in New York has had tremendous amounts of experience overall. But now that's replicable. That gives confidence to other local chapters, okay? So that's really big. That's big, okay? But also, there are other DSA chapters out there, like in Denver, Colorado, right? Francesca Hong, Wisconsin, which is, again, not in any way, shape, or form a deep blue state. Denver, Colorado is a deep blue district. We can run up those numbers there. Obviously, it's a very young district, so I'm very confident in that one. It's going to be a tough race, but regardless, I think we can pull through. Okay? We got Oliver Larkin running against Moskowitz in Florida. That's going to be a real tough race overall. He hasn't gotten enough media attention. But we got Abdul El-Sayed running for Senate in Michigan, right? We got Abdul El-Sayed running for Senate in Michigan. That's another huge one. That's the thing. That's the thing that you have to remember. This is replicable elsewhere. Because guess what? As I always stress the importance. What, you think people in red states don't need housing? You think people in red states don't want healthcare, don't need healthcare? Of course they do. They want a better future for their children. They've just been deluded into thinking that the problem is undocumented migrants or trans people. Okay? We got to pull them back in. Same with Cory Bush. You think people don't want a solution to the cost of living crisis? My goats are out. Bernie Sanders and Sean Fain. Tonight, hear about the fight to take on the billionaire class in Michigan to make sure Abdul Sayed wins the Michigan Senate primary on August 4th. Some of that good stuff that happened in New York City rubbed off on Sioux Falls. SD mayoral runoffs currently tied with a difference of 2 votes now, waiting on a recount. The race is between Toby Durden-backed endorsed conservative versus a moderately progressive guy, at least for South Dakota, who's running on it being our city, housing first policies for the homeless, and no data centers. This is pretty nuts for a very deep red stronghold. Yes. This kind of victory matters because what happens in New York City doesn't stay in New York City, okay? First of all, a lot of the media is centered out here. So anything that happens in New York City sneezes, the rest of the country catches a cold. Okay? You see victories in New York City for democratic socialism, the rest of the country hears about it and goes, why can't we have that? So that's number one. That's really important. And number two, wherever the working class is, they're going to have working class interests. It's that simple. This is not a crazy policy. This is not a crazy idea at all. It's actually the simplest idea of all time. Just run on fucking policies that center the needs of the working class and you will win. And in order to show that you're earnest, that you will fight for their interests rather than the interests of corporations or foreign lobbies, yeah, you have to take the pledge. You have to say, nope, this Israel stuff's out of control. We're done. Arms embargo. We're done sending dimes, not billions, not even a dime to Israel, right? So yeah, that's something to remember. Because at the end of the day, what do they got? We got the people, they got the money. And then they have this. The optics of a mostly white crowd chanting, "You're next," to the likely first black speaker of the House aren't spectacular. Brother, woke one is dead, okay? They hammered all the nails in the coffin of woke one is dead. You can't be doing this cynical idpol shit no more, okay? The DSA slate was so unbelievably diverse. The DSA slate was so diverse, there was only one white guy on it. One white guy, David Orkin. What are we talking about? Yeah, Left on Red New York City says DSA ran one white guy against a woman of color in a 70% non-white district. Turns out people care about your substance politics more than your skin color. Identity politics found dead in a ditch. I mean, it's true. David is the only white guy on that slate. We obviously joked about it when I was doing the slate rally. Okay? Anyway. This is what they've got. Oh, come on. Come on. Hey, Hassan, I'm the News 12 background photog. You borrowed the TV battery from last night. Sorry, my reporter came back and stole it back from you. He has weird beef against all new media people. That's so funny. Hey, dude, you were the GOAT last night. It's fine. For as long as we had the juice, it was great. But what's weird about it is I saw him also running around with a fucking Claire Valdez button on. So he was obviously with the shit. So I don't know why he did that. He literally it felt like he got mad. Because I literally was like, listen, News 12, I'll give you any interview you want. Name the time and place. I'm ready for you. Because our battery died. Last night we couldn't go to Daria Lisa's party because our batteries died. And we could not charge those batteries no matter what. We were literally so desperate. We were trying to suck up any juice we could from wall mounts and whatnot. So then I was like, why don't we just go up to these guys? Why don't we go up to local media, see if they have any TVU backpacks? Because the battery is so unique, right? And this guy, News 12 Photog, was there. And I was like, yo, do you have an extra battery? Can I grab it? Because you guys are probably mounted to the wall anyway. And he was like, yeah. He had no idea who you guys were. We have a few Hasanabi heads over at News 12. Hell yeah. And he saved it. He gave us like another additional hour of power, basically, because he gave us his extra battery. And you know, and then the guy found us. Yeah, V-mount batteries are a bitch to recharge on the fly. I know. But basically, that gave us like a little bit more, right? And I straight up told the journalist, like the guy in front of the camera, I was like, listen, thank you so much for helping us out. Like, this is a huge help. And, you know, I'll do anything you guys want. If you want an interview, I'll give you an interview, whatever. And he literally chased me down later, like 30 minutes later. He chased me down 30 minutes later and was like, no, give me the battery back. We need it. And I was like, okay, sure. I had given News 12 my battery for insurance. I'm still a little weirdly in shock by how well last night went. Yeah, me too, buddy. Me too. Anyway, so they got this. Let's see centrist Malding.
She's not only winning, she's fucking crushing it.
Right on what it's been, 86%. Again,
Mamdani fucked us!
Much smaller area to begin with.
Like, what do you mean us, bro? Why? Like, why have you chosen this hill? Like, why have you decided you're this guy? What allegiance do you have to centrist neoliberal Democrats? At what point did they even give you money? Do they even know you exist? I just don't understand why you would be a fucking loser for no reason. Being a loser for free 99 is the weirdest, strangest fucking thing I've ever encountered.
And SBI's running out of opportunities, 86% of the vote right
there. Like, why would you be mad about this? You have a young, dynamic, progressive challenger who took out an establishment Democrat. You know what I mean? Like, why would you be, as an outsider, if you're not like a Democratic Party consultant, why in the ever-loving fuck would you ever turn around and be like, oh, dude, I can't believe it. Like, Adriana Espaillat, a guy that I didn't know the name of until like last week and a half, is actually my favorite guy. Brother, people in his fucking district didn't even know about him. That's why a 32-year-old who said fuck Kamala Harris was able to defeat a machine politician, and you're over here mourning that loss like you knew who the fuck he was last week. His own fucking constituents don't know him. It doesn't even make sense. Like, what is this weird ass fucking bullshit? What do you want? Team better things are not possible? I just don't understand it. It's so strange to me to be like this. Van Jones was sad. It seems. Oh no. Oh no. Van Jones, was he crying?
Do you think Democrats not in New York City should be learning from this?
Well, first of all, New York City matters because the two most exciting left-wing candidates are here, AOC and Mamdani, but also this is the stronghold for the establishment, Schumer and Hakeem Jeffrey. This is a battle between the establishment and this insurgency, and the roof is collapsing on the Democratic Party establishment tonight. If Mamdani gets a hat trick, 3 out of 3, this is a new era for the Democratic Party, and you can't write off New York City because this is the place where both, it's the power center for the establishment and the insurgency, and they're going head-to-head tonight. And right now, this is no longer a movement. This is a movement and a machine at the same time. There's just no way to sugarcoat this. If Mamdani pulls off the hat trick, is a new era in Democratic Party politics.
Well, and if you're a moderate Democrat who's on the election, who's on the ballot this November, Van, I mean, they're all going to get asked about the positions that we're hearing from these other fellow Democrats.
Well, look, I think, you know, from our frontline Democrats will be able to make their case for themselves. I think they'll be able to do okay. We got a lot of national security Democrats in other parts of the country, but this is a big deal tonight. And I think that, look, I don't know what you want me to say here. This is a straight up battle between the establishment and the insurgency, and the establishment is getting its butt kicked tonight in New York City.
Damn, dude. Maybe you should get another $100 million to paper over your tears with. You know what I mean? Oh, all right. Let's get started on this, okay? Mayor Mamdani takes victory lap. He deserves it. Listen, you know, this was his night, just as it was everybody else's. I mean, he put his whole pussy into this, okay? He really did. He fucking didn't just endorse, but he was out there, okay? He was outside. Colombia, the school that once arrested Daria Lisa for peacefully protesting is now likely going to be represented by her in Congress. Yep. He really did. He really did. He expended a lot of political capital this past month, you know? He stuck his neck out. I was a little worried at first. I'll admit, I was a little worried because he's been moving. He was moving a little crazy sometimes. You know what I mean? He was moving a little careful. He is not a secret that he's very careful about the way he is perceived, the way he's portrayed. And I do worry about that a little bit, you know, because these guys are not used to eating shit in the way that I have grown accustomed to it. You know what I mean? Eating shit has become a part of my lifestyle, unfortunately. So I always worry when they stick their necks out and they immediately get chopped a little bit. I worry that they're going to be restrained. And he proved me wrong 100%. He stuck his neck out. He was very vulnerable. Okay? Yes, they call me the dung eater of the democratic socialist movement, the sin eater. Right? But in any case, as I was saying, he did it. He stuck his neck out, and he knew that these are people that had to win, not just for his like further political cachet and political clout that will obviously make it a little bit easier in the future to wheel and deal to make sure that assembly members think twice before opposing the agenda of fast and free buses, for example, or a rent freeze or whatever, right? Like, this is important. This is how politics is played. And he has a profound understanding of this, right? So expending political capital this early on, like building momentum for a movement and leaning into that popularity and then expending political capital this early on, he did it. He did it right. Okay? And I give him a lot of credit for it. I really do. I was worried. And he won big. Every time he does this push and pull, when he's pulling, I always think, oh no, like I've been burned before, right? I've been burned before. So anytime he pulls, I'm like, oh shit, is he going to be a dud? Is he going to be a phony? Is he actually just trying to, build his own prestige or whatever? But I still trust him. I trust him because he's a cadre, and that plays a big role, right? Because a guy who started his political activism by starting his Students for Just for Palestine chapter in his college is not going to turn into Van Jones, right? So I keep my skepticism to myself, and I'm saying this as someone who talks to him, right? Even then, I have these fears. It's tough not to have these fears because this entire process, it builds a lot of cynicism, okay? But that push and pull, when he's pushing, he pushes hard. And it shows why he's pulling at times, okay? It really does. By expending capital, he has more clout because he won. What politician in New York is going to risk a fight with him? He ended his speech with join DSA. No, I know. I'm just saying sometimes when he's being careful, he's building up for a moment where he can actually dump the existing political capital that he's obviously banked, right? There is a push and pull here. And he has moved just right. And last night's victories show that. Okay, so it's the Zoran Glaze hour.
Primary election results, and Mayor Mamdani taking a victory lap today after he helped.
Don't misunderstand me. I still think that there are a lot of avenues where he could go a much longer way, right? And there are obviously, as the mayor, you have a million different forces at play. It's an unbelievably complex issue. There's a reason why no mayor has ever run for president. Obviously, Zoran can't run for president, but there's a reason why no mayor of New York has ever run for president and won, right? It's like the worst job in America. And he has somehow turned it into the best job in America, right? That's no easy feat. That's unbelievably impressive. So, he's taken this role that has a lot of attention, a lot of eyeballs, and is turning it into a real movement, a real national movement, right? That was the best possible scenario. That was exactly what I wanted from Zoran, for him to be a movement guy. And he has played that role so perfectly. And in order for him to be a movement guy, he also has to deliver. He has to deliver for New Yorkers, and he's been doing that. He has to deliver for New Yorkers. He has to also sell what he's delivering, and he has done that a millionfold. Okay? Make no mistake. And then, once he garners this popularity, once he gets the association with democratic socialism and good governance, he can then use that momentum to get more democratic socialists elected. And he's done that. He's done that. He's shown, he's led by being this person that other people look to and go, why can't we have that? Okay? So, much respect. Much respect to Zoran. He did the damn thing. He is outperforming my expectations. He's doing a phenomenal job. If you remember when he got elected first, what did I say? I was like, look, he's made my job a lot easier. I could just point to him and I could say, we need more of that. It's proof that it works. Okay? Now, after last night, my job got a whole lot easier. Okay? Got a whole lot easier for me to do this. So, yeah. Anyway, let's see.
Toppled 2 sitting congressmen and elect a little-known Brooklyn Assemblywoman to replace retiring Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez. Political reporter Marcia Kramer is here now.
Little known any longer.
Marcia.
Well, Just, Mayor Mamdani is determined to use his election victories in congressional and state races to change politics in America. But it set off an equal and opposite reaction among Republicans who see this as an opportunity to gain support from moderate Democrats.
I see these results as a reflection of are the fact that New Yorkers are hungry for a new kind of politics.
Political pundits call Mayor Mamdani the kingmaker, praising his ability to defeat 2 sitting congressmen, Dan Goldman and Adriano Espaillat, and to pole vault a little-known Brooklyn Assemblywoman into the seat held by retiring Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez. All 3 candidates won by stressing their anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian views, which happened to jibe with those held by Mayor Mamdani. In his victory lap, the mayor talked about the pro-Palestinian views of Daria-Lisa Avila Chevalier, who beat Espaillat.
She speaks about babies, not bombs. What could be a better example of what the people of the district want to see versus what the people of the district have been forced to experience, which is tens of billions of dollars being spent at a national level to bomb children overseas while children in our own districts are struggling.
Political experts say it's a huge moment for the freshman mayor, eclipsing Governor Hochul, who backed the wrong horses.
The king of New York City politics right now is Mayor Mamdani. He's the kingmaker and he's in charge.
Republicans were quick to pounce, seeking to use the election to help them keep control of Congress in the November midterms.
These radical candidates are self-describing, they're self-identifying as Marxist. They want to fundamentally transform this country. And sadly, many of these Democrat candidates and their voters just don't have the same zeal and affection for America.
Closer to home, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman says he intends to use the results to deny Kathy Hochul another term. He says moderate Democrats will flock to him.
That's going to be a lot of traditional Democrats that are going to be very upset that the party's being taken over by the lunatics. And I believe that they will vote Republican. I think that it will help my candidate.
You're out of your fucking mind, big dog. Okay? You're out of your fucking mind. These guys are so dumb. Like, they're living in a fucking bubble. No, man, this type of politics is popular. They don't see it the same way that you do because they're not a fucking calcified demon, okay? It's so funny to be like, no, these guys are going to look at the agenda of putting the working class first and then go, I actually really like Donald Trump's fascism, his incompetent fascism. Okay? Yeah. New York State is going to look to that and be like, I hate the idea of spending money on healthcare rather than fucking endless bombing campaigns overseas. So I'm just going to vote for the fascist American movement that is seemingly also more incompetent than even the historic fascist movements, thank God.
Candidacy, because I have tried to show the sharp distinctions between the policies of Mamdani and Hochul and those of traditional Democrats.
Now, it is.
This is also a pivot to the center for Republicans. You notice that? Is bad behavior the really only way to get your attention? No. Glad to see an unapologetic Democratic socialist wins in upstate New York. For years, pundits told us our vision for New York could never resonate outside of New York City and downstate. Adam Bojack for assembly proves them all wrong. There's a movement for all working people, no matter what your zip code. Hell yeah.
It's too early to tell whether the mayor succeeded because the candidates he supported ran in districts where he did well in the mayor's race, or is it part of a widespread voter dissatisfaction with politics as usual? But this is also a warning to long-serving Democrats like Senator Chuck Schumer.
Dude, I think a Democrat winning a primary in New York or California against machine politicians, including a literal head of a caucus, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, is far, far more difficult than a lesser served neighborhood where a DSA candidate can just like take advantage of the fact that there's not a lot of national attention on a particular race and just eke out a victory that way. Okay? Yeah. The governor of the state endorsed against Daria Liza. The attorney general endorsed against Daria Liza. The idea that the entire forces of the Democratic Party in New York State and certainly in New York City were not standing in opposition to defend this establishment candidate and fucking lost is horrible analysis. Okay? It's very clear. It's very clear that there's tremendous appetite for change.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries that the socialists may be gunning for them.
And the New York governor's race just got even more interesting.
It did indeed, and it's going to be really interesting in November.
Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Marcia.
Good evening, Brooklyn and Queens. When
My
we
queen.
fight, when we fight.
Yeah, Claire also had to fight the entire progressive nonprofit and most of organized labor, and she won by 20. And it wasn't just Zoran, obviously it was DSA. That was the DSA difference, right? But it wasn't just the DSA difference. It was the UAW that stood by their rank and filer, okay? Shouts out to the UAW. They have done a lot of impressive maneuvering lately. I don't know if you guys saw They also recently voted to no longer support Israel. That was huge. UAW's been making big money moves. Okay. Be on the lookout for a Sean Fain interview soon. Just saying.
Yeah, baby. And tonight, my friends, we have won. My name is Claire Valdez, and I am proud to say that I will be your next Congress member.
Yeah, for all the haters out there, by the way, the Utah 1 primary result has me questioning whether last night's takeaway is the Democratic Tea Party's here or whether it's just truly Zohran Mamdani is popular in New York City. Yeah, there's Plattner, Dunlap, Rabb, the 2 New Jersey races with Hamawi, Ana Lilia Mejia, the 2 California races, and of course, Abdul, result pending. It hasn't been consistent everywhere and has relied on some luck, but it's not just in New York City. No, I have the method. I've seen the losses and I've seen the victories, and I'm telling you, okay? Do you want to know the secret sauce? You can literally go through the cross endorsements of Bernie, AOC, DSA, myself, and numerous other forces. When there is when we're in the perfect wheelhouse, okay? The secret sauce is when all of these forces merge. That's where magic happens. Okay? That's the secret recipe. If we are all united, like if all of these forces are united on these fucking races, that is the secret sauce. But you got to have ground game, and that ground game usually comes from DSA. Okay? This one was a split progressive vote. That played a big role, right? Nate had a lot of momentum, and it was cut away because of old tweets and old statements, stuff like that. And he also couldn't overcome that because Liban Muhammad also ran in that race. There wasn't enough money that he could fundraise, I assume. But most importantly, there also wasn't like a... I didn't follow this one as closely, right? But I assume that it wasn't like a big push, a major push by the Democratic Socialists either. I don't know, maybe they did. And obviously DSA is not as strong everywhere. He joined DSA today. Well, dear Nate, we're so glad you remember the Democratic Socialists of America. Look at that. Look at that. Well, we'll see. We'll check back in again in 2 years. Okay? No, he joined 10 days ago, it says in the email. When are you joining the DSA? I don't know what you're talking about. Hassan, tell chat to pay monthly dues because that money is then split with your local DSA. Yes, pay monthly dues, chat. DSA SLC also ran a candidate in state senate in Utah, was locally and nationally endorsed, so we didn't have bandwidth for Nate's race. Yeah, no, I know. Ironically enough, the DSA Salt Lake City candidate was replacing Nate's emptied seat, right? And Nate endorsed them too. Hello, which Muslim terrorist rapist? Diddy Piker. Okay. Okay, chatter. We're definitely going to get you that much needed health care. All right. So yeah, look, people will look to and try to find whatever they can. But oh yeah, we're not done with the delicious tears of right-wing pro-Israel, Israel first centrists. Roach is calling you an Islamic terrorist, so his chatters will start to trickle in. Yeah, okay. Who cares, buddy? This is our day. You're such a dishonest little maggot. Wait, what? Oh, he's doing it right now. He's doing it right at this moment. So his fans are immediately coming in to be like, you're a terrorist. You're a Islamic style terrorist, and I hate you. Let me get that anti-roach spray out. Hold on. I got
best roach sprays for apartment kitchens. Most don't work. I'm going to tell you one that does. Stay tuned. And when you spray a repellent, the roaches are trying to get away from it. You don't want that when you're trying to get rid of roaches. You want a non-repellent. And what is a good non-repellent? Well, let me reach in my pocket here. Advian WDG.
Hold on.
A lot of you out there are going Alpine WSP.
Hold on.
Alpine WDG. Alpine WSG.
I'm going to scare them further.
You can
Hold
shower
on.
every day, apply deodorant, the best fragrance, and still smell bad. And the worst part is you...
Hold on. Let's
If you want
scare
to
them
facilitate
further.
your shaving, make it easier, smoother, more accessible, you can get the Gillette Labs Body Razor, now available at Target. The link will be in the description and the pinned comment at the top. Now, if you're using a regular loofah like this, get rid of it because they're building up bacteria.
Remember when attacking other partner streamers was against Twitch rules? Yeah, I do remember that. Remember when Twitch also had a terms of service if like one major content creator on the platform was just straight up calling another major content creator on the platform, a Muslim content creator, a fucking Islamic style terrorist? That would probably be, ban worthy. I remember, but those things don't exist anymore. So this is how we fight back. We fight back by educating the roaches, by getting them to learn good hygiene habits with the hopes that they can better themselves. This is a life-changing moment for these guys.
Instead, get
Okay.
yourself a silicone scrubber. They don't collect bacteria and they last forever. They also properly exfoliate your skin to get rid of all the dead skin and bacteria. So
That is what is known as a shower for all the Asmongold fans. That's if you do that, you will be a more likable person. You should try it. Pest control manager for 14 years. He's right. Alpine WSG is the best product. I love that. Hi, just started. Have you done the news yet? No. All right. JC Polanco has some fucking choice words. One of my shortest ops. To the new New York City Democrat Party, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, and Richie Torres are awful and need to go. But Piker is a favorite who delivers margins. Piker's greatest hits. Americans of 9/11. Orthodox Jews are inbred. Believe in Israel's right to exist. Mental illness. I don't have any patriotism for America. Old enough to count. Old enough to. Yet he's paraded around New York City in campaigns that is seen as an asset. This can't be real life. Oh my God. Why is he around these campaigns? This guy sucks. Stop hanging out with him. Anyway. Mike from PA, numbers guy, confirmed. Here is predictions for Monday. Here are Mike from PA's nearly perfect predictions. Mike prediction, Valdez, 55. Live result, 56 for Valdez. New York, 10. Mike prediction, Lander, 65. Live result, Lander, 65.8. Dude, Brad Lander. Listen, I didn't really talk about Brad Lander's campaign as much. He's improved his messaging on the issue of Israel quite a bit throughout the campaign, ironically enough. And, He is further to the left on Israel than even Bernie is, obviously. And I hope, I wish him well, and I hope he will become a strong ally. Okay, further down the line. But god damn, dude, New York 10, first of all, is a district that has a lot of Jewish voters. Brad Lander put up Bashar al-Assad numbers on a congressperson that was beloved by the liberal voters in this district. Do you understand? Dan Goldman is a beloved congressperson by the MSNBC wine moms. He led the Trump impeachment. Okay? He led the fucking Trump impeachment. He was on MSNBC. People were like, oh my God, he's so amazing. And Brad Lander came in and put belt to ass. It was unfucking believable. Okay? Bro, that level of landslide against an incumbent with no real scandals is a bit crazy. Shows you that supporting Israel is now a scandal for most normies. Yes. And again, remember, a district where everyone's like, oh, Dan Goldman has to be pro-Israel because it's a very Jewish district. Yeah, really? Really? Oh, really? Is that why he had to be pro-Israel? Or was he just pro-Israel for the fuck of it? Because he really loved Israel personally. Because it kind of seems like being anti-Israel, calling out Israel's genocide, and also on top of that, saying Israel's an apartheid state, put Assad numbers on the board for a popular incumbent, a previously popular incumbent. Okay? And what's even, and better yet, and we got to obviously cover this as well, a testament to the bipartisanship that even the fucking, the goddamn worms over at Fox News could find on the issue of defending Israel. As Sean McCarthy points to, he says, this guy who led the impeachment against Trump and Sean Hannity's crying that he lost America's a Zionist lunatic asylum.
This is a Fox News alert. Incumbent Congress.
Also, Sean Hannity, what happened? Is everyone else taking Ozempic and Sean Hannity is just like sucking it up from them? He looks swollen. He looks like he was crying real tears all night. He crowed. He cried, I cried, we crowed. Sean, what the fuck happened? Are you hiding nuts in your cheeks like a goddamn squirrel? What the fuck's going on, bro? Shit, you look puffy as hell, big dog. Have you been crying?
All right, this is a Fox News alert. Incumbent Congressman Dan Goldman, who was just banned from a New York City coffee shop because of his support for Israel. He has now lost his primary to a radical socialist backed by Mamdani. It appears that, you know...
Mamdani? What is going on? Bro. For real though. Mamdani. Dude. What a fucking beautiful L this was for Dan Goldman. I'm sorry, listen. You might not be the biggest fan of Brad Lander or whatever. It doesn't matter. He has said all of the right things. He has arrived at the correct position, even if it's inconsistent with liberal Zionism. He's older. These things take time, okay? When I see Brad Lander, and I know all the anti-Zionists are going to fucking yell at me, but you know what I see when I see Brad Lander? I see one of you chatters' parents, okay? One of the Jewish anti-Zionists in here will probably also say the same thing. I see a person who is an uncle who is going through the motions of being like, I've loved Israel my whole life, and now I recognize that it is responsible for fucking heinous war crimes, a genocide, and an apartheid. I see the truth about Israel, but also it's a little bit difficult to rewire my brain after, 50 fucking plus years of being like, the Holocaust will literally happen if Israel doesn't exist. Like, he knows what's going on. He knows what's up. He knows what time it is. And he's just still, I see Tim Robinson. Okay, calm down. Because, like, it's one of those things. Megaphonics' parents, yeah, that's not going to happen. Let's be real. Megaphonics' parents every day move further and further into Sid Rosenberg territory. Sorry. There's two different kinds of Jewish unks out there, okay? You got the Brad Lander who's like, this shit sucks, and I'm like, I know what's up. I'm saying it. I'm seeing it, but it's just like I can't let go of this. Like, it's the Gucci bag moment. You know what I mean? Let it go, bruh. Let it go. Like, and it is inconsistent. It's like an unbelievable inconsistency that is born out of your cognitive dissonance because of all the social conditioning. Now, a lot of people will look at that and go, who gives a fuck? It's a genocide. Like, oh, I'm sorry, it's your emotional support apartheid state. And I totally understand that statement. But I just don't think it's coming from a place of like malice or hatred, even if it is ultimately somewhat of a racist perspective. Okay? It is a racist perspective. But it's one of those things where, like, they get it, but they can't give up. And I'm sure many of you have, many Jewish anti-Zionists in this chat have already had this experience with your parents, with your older relatives. So, yes, it's on my mother, who infamously said that it would be just to blow up a school if it was being held hostage alongside school shooters who killed the person who held me hostage. Is definitely going to have a realization. No, I'm not saying all of your parents, okay? Some of your parents, like I said, moved further and further to the Sid Rosenberg column, okay? But then there are also there are also obviously like people who have moved into the direction of like the Omer Bartovs of the world, who are like, yeah, maybe the Zionism stuff has evolved into something that we didn't realize it was evolving into, right? Like that's just like a couple years out from like finally being an out and about anti-Zionist. And if you say we don't have time for that, that's fine. It's not for you, okay? This statement is not for you. I'm just saying this is not like an unsalvageable position. Also, Brad Lander is now, and this is also what will aid in him, I think, going off and arriving at a consistent position, because he is now the recipient of unbelievable anti-Semitic attacks from Israel advocacy organizations. They're calling him a fucking parasite. Stop Anti-Semitism says they're not Democrats, they're socialists. They are parasites. They cannot win on their own by creating their own party. So they're going to latch on to the Democratic Party and feed off of it with the overall goal of taking it over and killing it. Melissa DeRosa, Democratic strategist. Yeah, they're also united in calling Brad Lander a fake Jew now, which is crazy. Okay? Obviously, it's not that crazy if you're like familiar with how, you know, what frequency a lot of extreme pro-Israel people are on. If you're familiar with their frequency, this doesn't come as a surprise to you, right? Because they've lost their dang minds in many ways. Hold on, is this lighting better? I can't tell. Let me fix it real quick. I guess it's good. Okay, this is good. But I don't think they realize that this kind of madness also plays a formative role in pushing people over that edge to be like, this is, you know, what the fuck is happening? Stop anti-Semitism without even a shred of irony, without even recognizing the irony in this statement. Turning around and calling Brad Lander a fucking parasite is wild.
Well, he's back.
Is wild. Anyway. Who gives a fuck? My man put Assad numbers up. Okay? All I'm saying is this. Give Brad Lander a year and a half, okay?
Backing some candidates for the primary in New York tomorrow, challenging some congressional candidates in the Democratic Party. And this is coming as some of these candidates are saying this is the beginning of a domino effect for the socialist power to go across the nation and in the Democratic Party in particular. We're back with the panel. Melissa, let me start with you. I mean, do you see this as a major shift for the Democratic Party?
Well, first of all, they're not Democrats, right? They're socialists, and they're essentially parasites. They've decided that they cannot win on their own by creating their own party, so they're going to latch onto the Democratic Party, feed off of it with the overall goal of taking it over and killing it. And so that's what the DSA is doing. They started this back in 2016 with Bernie versus Hillary. AOC then gets elected in 2018. You see the introduction of the squad, and what's been happening.
My favorite is when Zionists use Nazi anti-Semitism and infamous anti-Semitic tropes to describe other people in groups. Yeah, no, literally. No, but guys, you don't understand. This is combating anti-Semitism, okay? What Melissa DeRosa right now is doing by saying, you know, this Jewish anti-Zionist is actually, well, he's not, this Jewish liberal Zionist who is, that's what's even crazier, because Brad Lander's not even an anti-Zionist, okay? He's like, he will say that he's a liberal Zionist. He's like, I am a liberal Zionist who believes that Israel has done a genocide, okay? This Jewish liberal Zionist who's critical of Israel because it's like impossible not to acknowledge the crimes of Israel is actually a parasite, but also saying that at the behest of, you know, this broader pro-Jewish advocacy. It's normal.
Since then.
It's
And
normal, perfectly normal. Definitely not losing their fucking minds at all on Fox
this
News.
year, they really do feel like it's their big opportunity. They are going for broke. And you don't see them trying to win purple seats or red seats. You see them trying to pick off Democrats in safe blue seats.
It is funny, though. Like I said, hey, congratulations to Brad Lander. It is very funny to see, like, what extent of cognitive dissonance we can see from Brad as far as, like, when social conditioning meets, like, reality. Because I've literally never heard someone be like, I'm a liberal Zionist. I'm very critical of BDS. I actually think it's bad. But also at the same time, we must end the occupation and apartheid of Israel. That's a new thing, okay? I'm sorry. That's a new thing. In all of my years of anti-Zionist advocacy, I have never encountered this assessment, this statement before. That's a whole new territory that we've arrived at, okay? I don't know how, but we're there. Because that's so funny to be like, guys, I'm not an anti-Zionist. I'm a liberal Zionist. I love Israel. But also, we must abolish the occupation and end the apartheid of Israel. It's just such a whopping contradiction, which is why I don't, spend a great deal of time. Norm Finkelstein is not. Norm Finkelstein is an anti-Zionist. Don't be ridiculous. Norm Finkelstein was critical of BDS initially, but I don't even think he is any longer, so it doesn't even matter. Anyway, but regardless, I mean, he put up, again, important to note here in this analysis, okay? The fact that Lander put up Bashar al-Assad numbers in a district where the formerly popular congressperson straight up became unbelievably unpopular because of his fucking ridiculous position on Israel and ICE, his initial position on ICE, and specifically Israel. There is no greater proof. There is no greater proof that this issue is done. Okay? You can have the little fucking, pro-terrorism rallies. You can carry the banner. You can carry the fucking flame. You can go out, Letitia James. You can go out and walk alongside the rest of the elite New York politicos in the pro-apartheid state rally alongside notorious war criminals and racists. But New York voters do not fuck with Israel. It's done. Okay, the district has a lot of rich conservative voters in downtown Manhattan. Yeah, well, it turns out they don't fuck with Israel too. It's over. I'm sorry. Brad Lander's victory condition shows that it is the most over. That's what this shows me. A guy who literally came out and said Israel is an apartheid, Israel is maintaining an occupation that must be abolished, that must be ended, Israel has committed a genocide, took over the seat of a guy who was a massive supporter of Israel. It's done. It's fucking done. And I suspect, perhaps we'll never know, that if Boris in New York 12 had a little bit of that mustard that his father has, Alex Boris in New York 12 lost to Micah Lasher last night. Micah Lasher was Nadler's hand-selected replacement. Ironically enough, Micah is more pro-Israel than even Nadler is. Okay? But I'm telling you right now, if Alex had come out and instead of trying to trail behind Lasher on how pro-Israel he's going to be, okay, he would have won that race last night. He would have had a lot more door knockers. He would have had less reluctant advocacy coming from a lot of the progressive folks in the city. Okay? Straight up. But he was too afraid to say something critical of Israel because he thought, oh, this is a district that's very pro-Israel. This is a very pro-Israel district. And they'll point to Lasher's victory in this district to make it seem like that's the case. But I promise you, he would have had far more turnout, far more support. Because at that point, you have to either shit or get off the pot, okay? And that race is a race in New York 12 where all of the top candidates were just tripping over one another to eat Israel's dick, okay? Every single one of them. If you were the lone voice that was like, this stuff is crazy. Look, I'm Jewish. You know, I'm handsome. Look at how handsome I am. I'm more handsome than the Kennedy in the race. I'm young. I'm very critical of AI, right? But also, this stuff has gotten out of control. It's a genocide. We got to put an end to it. You know what I mean? You don't need to go to the distance of Brad Lander. But I promise you, if he had done that, I think he would have won last night. He would have gotten the margins he needed to win because he got close. And Boris isn't Jewish. He's not. Why did you join DSA Reason? Yeah, I saw this.
Join your local DSA. Join your YDSA if you're young. Join your DSA chapter. Start a DSA chapter. Also show. Be the change you want to see. Join your local.
Yep. Literally nobody can beat Fight Agency. DSA needs to sign Morris Katz for an exclusive contract. Okay, fucking dial it back, buddy. Okay? Calm down. Calm down.
Do you think any Democrat who supports Israel should be primaried and defeated?
Say yes.
Do I believe that any Democrat is? No, I don't believe that.
Boo. 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 Boo.
I believe that we should, any Democrat who is, I think that the Democrats who are most closely aligning with AIPAC pose an electoral risk to the party.
But why?
And
Why
also are not
AIPAC
serving
and not other? Why AIPAC and not other dark money organizations of various
I feel this the same
subjects and others?
So that's the question about Israel. I think the same thing can be true about many.
Oh, God, Dana. Yeah, you got to wonder what's going on through Alex Boris' head right now. He got the endorsement of Our Revolution, but actively sought to separate the New York City left and DSA because he understandably thought anti-Israel politics would hurt him in the Upper West Side. So the Israel went to the Israel Day Parade, didn't go on a Islam Park stream, etc. Now he's lost to Michael Asher by 4 points. Could the left have made a difference? 100%. 100%. Okay? I'm telling you right now, he abso-fucking-lutely. Look, one of the things that I found in my experience, okay, with the candidates that I interview, with the candidates I endorse, the candidates I work with, is you got to either shit or get off the pot. You can't try to center yourself on top of the fucking fence. You can't be wishy-washy with progress, okay? You got to dive in. When you dive in, you get rewarded. When you dive in, people see that as a buy-in, okay? People see that as you being earnest. If you are afraid to dive off the deep end, people don't see you as honest. They see you as a politician, okay? It's that simple. It's that fucking simple. And a lot of people refuse to reckon with that reality, okay? What you're suggesting is, what if Alex Boris was an entirely different person? Also, I didn't know he wasn't Jewish. His dad is Jewish. I guess maybe his mom's not. I don't know. Serious question to my Dem friends in New York City. Is there still a Democratic Party in local politics? Doesn't it seem like we're watching the DSA wholesale take over the Dem Party here? If you are a young center-left Dem with ambition to run for local office in New York City, do you really think you can carve out space in a winnable path? No, you can't. Again, I support human rights and progress and oppose racism, but also am pro killing 20,000 children in Gaza is simply not a tenable position anymore. The contradictions are too heightened. Blah, blah, terrorism, blah, blah. Anti-Semitism doesn't have the juice it used to. It's over, says Adam Johnson. The thought-terminating cliches, the hand-waving, the mopey sectarian deflection can no longer paper over these obvious and glaring and increasingly undeniable contradictions. The problem is too many liberal voters, unlike liberal institutions and leaders, take liberalism seriously. Yes, they do. I think it's also a testament to the negative attacks against Daria Lisa also backfired. Okay? That kind of racialized agitation. That kind of racialized agitation also fucking doesn't work. Bro, you support Bernie Sanders, who's pro-Israel. I don't know how many times I got to run this clock over and over again, okay? Yes. I have significant disagreements with Bernie Sanders on his Israel position. It does not go far enough, and he's 88 years old. What the fuck do you want me to do, man? Okay? He's 88 years old, okay? Shut the fuck up. I'm sorry. I just can't. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. But guess what, dude? Guess what? Okay? You supported Bernie Sanders in 2016, most likely. You supported Bernie Sanders in 2020. You should remember that. And more importantly than that, Bernie Sanders supports not only people like myself, who obviously plenty of other politicians have a deep disdain for, okay? That those disagreements for someone with the platform of Bernie Sanders is not untenable, okay? Those disagreements with Bernie Sanders and numerous other candidates that he's endorsed, virtually every single fucking endorsement that Bernie Sanders has delivered this election cycle have all gone, almost entirely gone, to open anti-Zionists, okay? I'm sorry. Yes. He cannot overcome these contradictions. But as long as he is not an impediment to progress, as long as he is not standing in opposition against, as long as he's not standing in opposition against anti-Zionists, why the fuck would I be like, yeah, no, I'm throwing the baby out with the bathwater? Okay? He's got one cycle remaining in the bank, and you guys are fucking losing your minds over it. This doesn't mean I'm casting aside the issue of Israel's genocide or its apartheid or its occupation. I'm saying that you can have disagreements with people even on fundamental values like this, okay? Fundamentally important disagreements, and still recognize that they are not leading by those disagreements. They are not using those disagreements to be like, I'm not endorsing these people, okay? Jesus Christ.
What we saw
yes.
last night in New York City, and what we've been seeing for the last few months all across this country, the message is
like, bro, I'm telling you right now, if Bernie didn't do that Stop Oligarchy tour, if Bernie didn't just like say, look, my time as a political actor is coming to a close, so I'm going to use all of the influence, all of the legitimacy that I've gained to push this goddamn country further and further to the left every single fucking day of the week. If he wasn't doing that, there would be no electoral victories for Democratic Socialists anywhere, okay? He played a major fucking role in this. Many of you became socialists because of fucking Bernie. Shut the fuck up. I'm not saying, defend his position on Israel, but I'm also saying, like, be a little bit more understanding of an older person who clearly is not going to move on this issue, but he's not an impediment to anti-Zionism. He's not letting that disagreement be the end-all be-all. Okay? Be a little bit more strategic. Be a little bit more tactical. Okay? Please. I know this is virtually impossible. It's an impossible demand, and I know people are going to clip this and be like, oh, please, my elderly war criminal, please, you're defending the elderly war criminal because it's his emotional support apartheid state or whatever the fuck. I know. You're going to get those clips off. It's going to go super fucking viral. It's going to do amazing numbers. It's going to do amazing numbers on Twitter, okay? You guys are going to be the most pure. You guys are going to be the most effective. But you're not going to be the most fucking pragmatic, okay? If Bernie Sanders spent every fucking waking moment being like, I love my emotional support apartheid state. I can't get over it. I'm not pushing for progress on this issue. I'm just, straight up refusing to endorse people that have an anti-Zionist position, then this would be a very different calculation, okay? You would actually be right and not just fucking annoying. But right now, you're wrong and fucking annoying. Okay? That's it.
Pretty clear. People are sick and tired of status quo politics. They're tired of the establishment. They understand that the very richest people in this country are becoming phenomenally richer, while 60% of our people are struggling to pay the bills, to pay for health care, to pay for housing, to put food on the table, to fill up their gas tanks. That ain't right, and people understand that. They want change. They want to end the corrupt campaign finance system, which enables billionaires to spend huge amounts of money to elect candidates who will represent their interests and go to war against working class people. People want change. That was what took place in New York. That's what we're seeing all over this country. Our job is to grow that movement. Volunteer, run for office, stand up and fight. We can win this thing if we stand together. Let's do it. Thanks. What we saw last night in New York City and what we've been seeing for the last few months all across this country, the message is pretty clear. People are sick and tired of status quo politics. They're tired of the establishment. They understand that the very richest people in this country are becoming phenomenally richer, while 60% of our people are struggling to pay the bills.
You didn't. When you remind everybody like how much more woke you are on this issue, you're not being pragmatic. You're not being. You're not even being morally righteous. You know. You got to grade politicians on a curve, and you also have to make tactical decisions sometimes. This is mine. You might disagree with it. It's fine. If you're calling me a defender of Israel because of this, that's fine too. Okay? Yeah, that's right. I'm the biggest defender of the nation state of Israel. It's my emotional support apartheid state. Okay? You've shown everybody how real you are.
Sectors, whether it be private equity or crypto, I think many of those apply the same. And I think when people, talk about this issue, there are a number of voters for whom this is a defining and important issue. But I think the shift that we're seeing amongst the Democratic primary electorate, amongst
AOC jumping on the train, guys, also fucking please be a little bit smarter. Okay? She's not jumping on the train. I explained this to you guys already. AOC did the cross endorsement with Zoran on purpose, okay? What, you think Zoran wasn't on board with the DSA slate at the local level, and AOC wasn't on board with the DSA slate in the congressional level? You think that's what was going on? They just seemingly hated only the people that were primarying people that they have to work with. Like, you think that's what happened? Look at that. Look at how kismet, I guess. Look at how strangely that played itself out. AOC hated the people primarying her colleagues, and Zoran hated the people primarying his colleagues. How did that happen? You think that's what happened? New DSA is more popular than Zoran. The DSA being more popular in New York City than both Mamdani and Hochul probably breaks a few narratives. The fabled 1% Mamdani disapproving, DSA approving voters are probably upset about the lack of policing reform from the mayor. Yes, that also doesn't shock me at all. Okay? That doesn't shock me at all. I mean, it's only 1%, but let's put those fucking numbers on the board. We're going to fucking recreate this in every district, okay? 1% revolutionary no.
General election electorates at large is less driven by
it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing.
Focus on Israel and more focused on them picking up on the dishonesty of the politics that comes with it. And I think it's a belief that a politics that sells anyone out will eventually sell everyone out. And when you see politicians telling people to not believe what they see with their own eyes, when you see politicians saying, we don't have enough money to not cut Medicaid, but we have enough money to write another blank check to Netanyahu, that undercuts a faith in government. It undercuts a faith in the ability to take on special interests. And I think that's where you're seeing this issue grow out of. And I think a lot of the politicians who then try to conflate the issue of criticisms of AIPAC or criticisms of Israel with anti-Semitism do a disservice to the ability to stand up to anti-Semitism, which is very...
Yeah, listen, no disrespect to Morris, and I'm sure he knows this already, but I don't think you're getting this message across the Dana Bash, my guy. Like, literally one of the Americans that will never hear you on this. Oh, she's I mean, this conversation is really funny because what he's describing is what Dana has been doing for the last 3 years. Okay.
Real, which is on the rise, and undercut them.
She got that but October 7th stare. She got that, yeah, when Dana Bash hits you with the but Hamas stare, okay? Oh, that's funny. Daria Lisa's live on NBC.
So I'm excited about being able to do that. I'm excited about the coalition that we're building across the city and across the country of people who are going to fight for working class people who are going to fight to make sure that we win Medicare for all, fight for workers and pass the PRO Act, making sure that we're winning college for all, taxing the rich. Those are the things that the working class people of this country need and deserve. And these are things that need to get passed in order to allow them to lead dignified lives. And so if we had representation that had delivered that, I think we wouldn't be seeing this new wave of folks who are committed to fighting for those things. And I'm so glad that we are participating in that new wave, because it's what is really, really needed right now.
I do want to turn to the issue of Israel. As we've been talking about, it played such a big role in a number of races last night. I want you to also take a listen to what Brad Lander said during his victory speech, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
You can criticize Israel and not be anti-Semitic. You can be an anti-Zionist and not be anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitic.
Anti-Semitism, it rises with fascism and with war, and we're amidst both right now. Progressives need to be people who are standing against this, not looking away from it.
Do you believe progressives need to be careful that criticism of Israel doesn't sort of tip into anti-Semitism?
Of course.
I have always been very clear that that criticism of Israel and anti-Zionism is something that needs to also fight back against anti-Semitism. I have organized.
Yeah, no, she's going to be like, no,
Jewish community groups
we should be anti-Semitic. Like, what do you think?
Because those two things are intertwined. Palestinian liberation and the safety of our Jewish neighbors are one and one. We cannot separate those two things. Anywhere that there's
fucking love
hatred
Brad
in the
Lander's
world is a
cadence,
threat
dude. I'm
to
sorry.
everyone in
It's
our
just
community, and so we need to make sure that we're uprooting it at every turn. And so I'm so deeply
I love
honored
that they
to
asked that question like anyone's going to be like, no, actually, we should blame the Jews. Like, what do you think she's going to say? Like, what an insane fucking statement.
Engaging in increasing levels of
anti-Semitism
are folks that we need to fight back against.
Yeah, it turns out people who are anti-fascist and anti-genocide also hate bigotry of other forms as well. Shocking revelation, guys. News flash.
There's room in the Democratic Party for voters who are pro-Israel but against the Netanyahu government.
Absolutely. Again, I'm someone who is organized with people who have a varying opinions on a number of issues. And I think if you are somebody who believes in the dignity of human life, if you are somebody who believes that working class people should be able to benefit from the wealth that they produce in our society and lead dignified lives, then there is space for you in our movement. I welcome everyone into this movement because I think that we really need to fight for human dignity for everybody. And
they're gonna complain she's lost. They're gonna complain she's been captured
because I believe that they deserve representation
because she's
that
being
will see
normal
their humanity and fight for them to have a dignified life.
Oh no.
Let's talk about the Democratic agenda, especially if Democrats.
Oh no, she's being normal. One must always be abnormal and weird and repulsive. That's just how you organize, actually.
Including Block the Bombs, including the Social Security Expansion Act, including the prescription drug care.
Sarah Haynes on The View said Daria Lisa would probably call herself anti-Semitic. Yes, those people are fucking freaks.
Things that we need to pass in order to actually deliver for working class people in this country. And I'm so excited to be able to sign on numerous bills on day one to be able to deliver.
And if Democrats do take back the House, would you support Leader Jeffries for Speaker?
So, up until last night, I was very focused on winning this primary, and I'm so excited to have done so. And that's a conversation that I'll be having with my coalition, with my community, to make sure that we are coming to a decision about what is best for the people here of New York 13.
Ball PK, thank you for the 10 gifted subs.
You will be looking for.
Hey. If we get a hype train going, if we get a level 10 hype train going, you already know I'll be singing it, dude. I'll be fighting for the motherfucking gospel. I'll be carrying the goddamn flame today, okay? We didn't carry the flame yesterday. but we'll be
Yeah,
carrying.
I think we'll be looking at what makes most sense in terms of the strategy for how to deliver, actually organize and talk, right? And so Brad and I just won our primaries last night. I'm excited to continue talking with him and building coalition and building consensus among our movement. And that's something that takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
My last question to you is, there are some Democrats who are on Capitol Hill and said they're worried about whether some of these progressive candidates are going to be team players. Do you anticipate that you will try to be a team player when you come to Capitol Hill?
I'm an organizer, and that is what organizing is. It's about making sure that we are building the coalition necessary to actually deliver. It's about knowing when you're outnumbered and out-resourced and still having an outsized impact and using strategy and relationship building and trust building to actually deliver for folks. And so that's what I'm excited to do. And I'm really excited to work with folks who are committed to that same vision.
Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier, thank you so much and congratulations on your win.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up, President Trump abruptly.
Nice. Sister was on Democracy Now! As well. Starts 25 minutes. I know. I listened to it earlier this morning. I listen to Democracy Now! Every morning. Okay. I know. Anyway, prepare to carry that motherfucking flame. You already know I'll be carrying the shit out of that flame, big dog. You already know. Level 5 hype train complete already. Oh my Lord. Newsom knows best. I'm getting my voice ready. Did I say Democracy Mao? Yeah. The War on Liberalism Report. Combat Liberalism Report. Democracy Mao. Combat Liberalism Report. Josh Kraushaar. Representative Dan Goldman in a concession speech. Jews have given back so much to this country, as history has taught us. Anti-Semitic tropes, stereotypes, some of which I heard personally on this campaign, will ultimately be the undoing of our democracy if we don't lean in, if we all don't lean in and speak out, even if it's not politically expedient. Mike Drucker says he knows the candidate who won was also Jewish, right? Yeah. Dan Goldman was defeated, but anti-Semitic style, by another Jewish candidate who also was anti-Semitic, and also saying that Brad Lander is a bad Jew is not anti-Semitic somehow. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't make all the rules. You know, I don't write these rules. I don't know how this works. It's just strange behavior in a Jewish district. The Jewish voters in this district, with a lot of Jewish voters, anti-Semitically voted for the Jewish candidate that was in opposition to Israel, as opposed to the Jewish candidate that was in support of Israel. And that is obviously maximum anti-Semitism. This is the funniest co-op tweet I've ever seen. Yeah, being a liberal feels like living in Poland in 1939. MAGA, DSA, Democratic Party, liberalism. Yeah, man, these guys are, this is Sex Pestany's own cult that he has dumped boatloads of money into and fundraise for. Ping Garumi, thank you for the 100 gifted subs. Holy shit, level 7 hype train complete. Yeah, these guys are deeply unserious. No one should fucking take them seriously, obviously. All they do is advance the grievances of their favorite Zionist sex pest, Epstein. It's a very strange behavior, but whatever, motionless for the most part. Who cares? Wow, that tie is loud. Cool. Thank you. I got it in the commie corridor. This is my commie corridor tie. Liberals are the Nazis in this diagram? Yes. How it started? 7/9/25. How it's going? 6/24. New for me. Key Mamdani allies eyeing New York City House Democratic primary challenges next. Jeffrey's advisor. If team gentrification wants a primary fight, our response will be forceful and unrelenting. We will teach them and all their incumbents a painful lesson. Mamdani emerges as kingmaker, pushing his slate to a primary sweep. Yeah, that was a huge L. That was a huge L for Hakeem. Anyway, let's hear from my goats over at Morning Joe.
I just, hearing a lot of people talking about the anti-Semitism in New York City and last night.
What is this? Timestamp. He unked out. Timestamp 1844. Majority Report unked up. Sam gave you possibly the best all-time shout-out, by the way. I was part of it. Let it be heard. Yeah, I heard Breaking Points was also glazing me a little bit. So, I mean, I'll take those.
This is pretty amazing. Hassan Piker, a couple of days ago,
Level 9 Hype Train,
a couple of
40%.
days ago, started encouraging his audience to phone bank. He's a slightly larger audience than we do. And the last figures that were public were that 90,000 calls were made by his audience. And here he is at, I think it was Claire Valdez's party. And the DSA co-chair, Gustavo.
Uh-oh. We have to interrupt. We have to interrupt Uncle Sam because we have to carry the motherfucking flame. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to carry the flame again. All right, baby. We're carrying the motherfucking flame all the way. All the way. All right, Uncle Sam and his assessment. I just know he's looking up at last night's elections. Dude, Islamic style socialism, he fucking hated that shit. Remember? He said Islam was a sword to the neck of America. Yeah. R.I.P. Charlie, he would have hated to see this new slate of socialist candidates rising up. Oh my God. You are 92,000 subs away from 2 million on YouTube. Hell yeah. Go subscribe to my YouTube page, everybody. Anyway, where were we? Let's get to Morning Joe. Let's hear what Morning Joe had to say. I want to hear his analysis because, you know, he's one of the most trusted names in former Republicans who turned into MSNBC commentators and contributors. So obviously his word carries a lot of weight around these parts. Let's take a look.
The anti-Semitism in New York City, and this is Mamdani's fault. This is so-and-so's fault. This is this left. No. It's not. It's really not. If you want to blame anybody for what happened last night, my opinion, if you want to blame anybody, Jonathan, I think you have to blame Benjamin Netanyahu. 4 years of maximalist aims, 4 years of historic goals in the Middle East. Did anybody?
It's going to be really funny when Benjamin Netanyahu is inevitably replaced in this upcoming election cycle. And then they're going to have to learn a new name to blame. It'll just never happen to be like Israel, the country, or Zionism, the ideology. It'll be the next guy, you know? Oh, Yair Lapid. Oh, Benny Gantz. Oh, shucks. It just happens to be the new guy who came in, same as the old guy.
From Dr. Brzezinski to even me, could have told anybody over the past 20 years, it's not going to work. And I've said it all along. There's always
Give me your house, you're fake Democrat. Give me your house, you fake Democrat. No.
Back in the Middle East, the idea that you're going to be able to brutalize children and women in Gaza with bombing that looks indiscriminate on TV day in and day out for years, that you're going to be able to level half of Lebanon, that you're going to be able to continue to allow thugs to run wild in the West Bank and brutalizing Palestinians.
Wow, Joe Scarborough fucking getting quite anti-Semitic. Getting quite anti-Semitic. I don't like it.
Brutalizing Christians in Bethlehem, brutalizing Christians across that area, along with Palestinian Muslims, especially Palestinian Muslims, blowing up Catholic churches in Gaza. Of course, I'm saying things that would relate to some of these people who are so shocked that Israel is in such low standing in America right now. Forgive me for a quick digression, but I was always instinctively pro-Israeli, an anti-Palestinian growing up. You know why? Because when I was a young child, one of my first memories was the '72 Munich Olympics. When Palestine...
Oh, look, the capitalists are seeing the entity as a liability to their own power and are panicking. Love to see it. Yeah. Fantastic. Why do they only care when they start losing elections? Because It threatens the good thing that they have going. That's why.
Palestinian terrorists killed Israelis, and it was shocking. And we saw time and time again terror attacks throughout the 70s. That shaped an entire generation's views on that conflict. Well, what's shaping the views now? Images out of Gaza, images out of the West Bank, images out of Lebanon.
I mean, Matt Iglesias gave the game away. He literally was like, guys, just fucking say Israel sucks shit and then advocate for like deregulation. You know what I mean? Like he literally was just like, please, Democrats, just say Israel sucks. What the fuck is wrong with you? We're literally going to lose every election to anti-Zionist socialists. Oh my God. He literally said lie. He was like, please, I'm begging you, lie about how much you hate Israel. If you love Israel, just lie, please. But the funniest thing is because of the unbelievable amounts of money being spent and all of the years and years of this influence peddling network taking root in American politics, these people can't even lie correctly about it. Because the moment that they say, okay, Israel sucks, I'm going to immediately come in and be like, okay, great. What are you going to do about it? When they say, oh, okay, defensive weapons, maybe we keep giving them. Nope, that's not going to happen, right? And even if they say, okay, I'm no longer making a distinction between defensive and offensive weapons, I'm going to be like, okay, Israel did a genocide. Israel's an apartheid state. Israel's maintaining an occupation, a brutal occupation for 80 years, and you don't want to hold them accountable? You don't want to do an arms embargo? The fuck are you talking about? And obviously, when the needle moves, we move along with it because our final position is the correct position, and it's always been the correct position. So there's no winning in this conversation for these guys. There's no like manageable, reasonable conclusion we can arrive at with Israel where we're like, okay, we recognize that it's a genocidal apartheid state, but also we should keep sending them weapons. Like, no. What the fuck do you mean we should keep sending them weapons? What are you, fucking insane? You know, words mean something. That's the reason why you refuse to recognize that Israel was doing an apartheid for 2.5 fucking years. Or sorry, Israel was doing a genocide for 2.5 fucking years while it was doing a genocide. That's why you refuse to still recognize that Israel's an apartheid state. You know? A lot of people, though, on the anti-Zionist front don't understand that. They don't understand it. They hear politicians move the needle in that direction, and instead of feeling more emboldened, feeling more galvanized, they fucking immediately go, these guys are fake. It's like, yeah, no shit they are, dumbass. Take advantage of the fact that the fucking Overton window is shifting. Please, for once in your goddamn lives, look to the situation in front of you and be a little pragmatic. Yeah. Democratic Party primary electorate becoming more left-wing is entirely consistent with the median voter going to the right, though. It's totally fine electorally for extreme left-wing safe seat House Democrats to be replaced by different extremely left-wing House Democrats. Extreme Democrats like Adriana Espaillat or Dan Goldman. Okay, wow. Listen, my point is this, by the way, okay? Because it has turned into the fuck ultras hour, power hour on this broadcast. The ultras play a role too, okay? What they just failed to recognize is I'm considered a fucking ultra to the average American, okay? I'm considered an insane person to the average American. So, you know, we have to be a little bit more reasonable with our advocacy. We cannot come across as repulsive, okay? That's it. We just can't be fucking repulsive. That's all I'm begging. I'm begging. Stop fucking constantly trying to pick apart your closest fucking ideological allies. Sometimes you're yelling at people. Like if you're running around talking about how Miss Rachel is a Zionist, you're a psychopath. Okay? I need you to understand. You are not a normal person at all. You are an insane person. If you're running around saying Miss Rachel is a Zionist, is a pro-Israel Zionist who's like bad for the fucking cause, you are psychotic. And you don't live in Palestine, okay? That's the other thing. I talk to people in Gaza all the time. They love Miss Rachel. I've only heard this take from either people in the diaspora or, and it's very rare. It's very rare to hear someone be like, I'm Palestinian and I'm saying fuck Miss Rachel, she's a normalizer. Very, very rare. Okay? It's almost always white motherfuckers living in other countries. Oftentimes in the United States of America. Okay? Sometimes in Argentina. You're an insane person. You're not moving the needle. You're coming across as fucking repulsive and annoying. That's it. That's all you're doing. It gets to a point where I keep hearing this shit over and over again where I'm like, are you paid? Like, is this... Because, like, you know who has expended a tremendous amount of goodwill in the process of attacking Miss Rachel by calling her a fucking anti-Semitic terrorist? The Zionist movement has. Okay? She is literally the standard. She is the standard. It's that simple. When people yell at me, I have my moments, you know? I'm openly in defense of the Palestinian resistance, right? That's not a normal position that you hear in polite society and certainly not in mainstream media. That's part of the reason why I get fucking banned from places. It's part of the reason why mainstream media fucking loses their mind all the time about what I'm saying. That's why they fucking smear me on a regular basis. Although it's wrong to claim that I'm anti-Semitic, it's unbelievably wrong, and it's a ridiculous smear. When you do that to someone like myself, at least like there's things you can point to be like, well, you know, he's fucking, it's Hasanabi, right? But when you do that to Ms. Rachel, you look like an insane person. She's literally just saying like, please stop murdering children. That's it. That's it. So what the fuck is wrong with you to turn around and call Ms. Rachel, who has done tremendous amounts of advocacy on this issue, who has literally fundraised, actively worked with Palestinian children that are victims of Israel's genocidal ambitions. You turn around and you say she's a normalizer, she's a fucking Zionist. Like, you're a psycho. Your advocacy cannot be just being the most repulsive person, okay? It can't. So stupid.
Conversations.
Well, anyway, speaking of pro-Israel or Israel firsters malding, let's hear from the DeSantis Democrat himself.
Have you, Congressman and Congresswoman. I want to get your reaction to the elections that occurred last night. Only a few minutes ago, the New York City Mayor Mamdani spoke out about what happened. I want to play a little clip. Listen to this.
Yeah, I'll be speaking with Congressman Jeffries later today, and I'm looking forward to working with Congressman Jeffries on delivering for the people of our city. And what I see these results as a reflection of are the fact that New Yorkers are hungry for a new kind of politics. They are hungry for a politics that understands working people should be at the heart of it. And they're hungry for a politics that looks at the wealthiest city in the wealthiest country in the history of the world and understands that it's unacceptable that 1 in 4 are living in poverty. It's unacceptable that too many New Yorkers are spending all of their day trying to figure out how they're going to make their rent check or pay for their groceries or pay their Con Ed bill. And what we saw last night was a hunger for leaders who will be there on the front lines looking to make it easier for working people to afford life in the greatest city in the world.
The candidates that the New York City mayor endorsed basically won yesterday. What was your reaction to what happened?
Well, I mean, look, we're going to lose 2 good members in New York that,
to bad members. Yeah. Oh, you must be worried. You must be a little scared, right? Oh, no. DeSantis, Democrat. expat is mad at the DSA. Yeah, exactly. Pro-Palestine student activists should be heartened by the fact that New York City just elected someone with a Canary mission profile since 2016. Okay? When Bad Empanada was first learning about the state of Israel for the first time ever in his fucking life, when he was like running around being like, you should vote for Bernie Sanders, you know, when he was a doughy-eyed, nice little, you know, baby leftist. Daria Lisa was out in the fucking streets getting doxxed by Canary Mission. Okay? I don't want to fucking hear from these goddamn naysayers any longer. Okay? Infamous quotes. You know, sad thing is we could probably bail out Puerto Rico if we weren't spending so much on Israel and its millions on war crimes and, you know, apartheid. Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier, Facebook, July 5th, 2015. Yeah, her infamous quotes are fucking awesome. Okay? Yeah. You think I was lying when I said these guys are way cooler than Zoran? You think I was joking? You think I was kidding when I said my mission is to make Zoran seem unremarkable? This is what we're talking about. And it's one that he understands too, for the record. Okay? This is something that he understands as well. This is the goal. The goal is that there are so many people like this running and winning and governing adequately that we look back at this and we go, man, Zoran was, I mean, he's just another guy. He's just another politician at this point. Okay? That's when we have actually accomplished a fraction of this mission. Yeah, look at that. From the Gaza Solidarity Encampment to Congress. This shit doesn't happen overnight.
One had served for.
Always ask yourself, am I an impediment to progress? Okay? Is this moving the needle, albeit in a marginal way, in the appropriate direction? And am I standing as an impediment to progress? That's something you got to ask yourself. Okay?
4 years when I've been there for 10 years. But this is what elections are about, right? I mean, New York City is different than Florida. Florida is different than California. Texas is different than New York. People get elected in different areas. We have districts there.
That's beautiful. That's a beautiful tweet. That's crazy. Ali Abunima, I'm one of the heads of SJP at Bowdoin College in Brunswick. Also, this literally reads as opposition research, chatters. I'm not going to lie. That's a beautiful tweet. 2013, Ali Abunima, my goat, okay? Director of Electronic Intifada himself. He's just in Zurich. I think he's being unlawfully prosecuted again, which is, you know, people that do this, people that have a perspective like this, unless they're literally fucking Van Jones, okay? Unless they're Van Jones, people that start their experience in advocacy doing this all the way back in 2013, they're not fake. They're not phony. Unless they're Van Jones. Van Jones literally in the 90s was a Maoist third worldist, and look at him now, right? This is a beautiful story. So like I said, when you see guys like this, remember that they've put in the fucking work, okay? They have. And I'm saying this as someone who at times is also, at times I also find myself questioning some of the decisions that Zoran makes, right? I'm still choosing to trust him because he has fucking delivered.
Or that, or I don't know, what
So
are they,
far.
D20s, D30s, D40s. So the primary is what matters. Obviously, they're very progressive seats. The DSA has been increasing their power in New York. They got
Socialists.
The Democratic Socialists of America. You know, they have a mayor, and he's obviously flexing.
Aphex Twizzy, I got suspended for 2 years. Dog, I told you were fucking around too much. What's wrong with you? Yes, literally, Abunima was just at Bowdoin too. SJP just had him back too. Jesus Christ. Damien LX endorser tracker. Okay, let's be real. I didn't have, the endorsement tracker site. Endorser scoreboard is 64% win rate. Okay, we'll take those. I'm above DSA, Track APAC, and Sunrise. Working Families Party still cooking my ass a little bit. Bernie Sanders at 75%. Zoran Mamdani at a 1. Okay, that doesn't count. He's fucking, his endorsements are marginal. He's not made a lot of endorsements. Okay. AOC, on the other hand, at 83%. 5 W's, 1 L, 1 contested win. Bernie at 9 W's, 3 L's, 6 pending, 3 contested wins. I'm at 9 W's, 5 L's, 7 pending, 2 contested wins. Yeah, Zoran's got the bubble numbers, okay? Zoran's got Mickey Mouse numbers on there. He only has 3 W's, 0 L's, and 1 contested win. You know what I mean? That's like... Yeah, I back insurgents in a lot of states. I know. I'm not playing it safe. What the fuck is this? What is Randy Fine saying? Oh, God. Why you got to show this to me? Wait, Trump?
Mandami was here, as you know, twice. And he's a very nice guy. He's a charming guy, good-looking guy. We talk, but you can't raise taxes on people when you force them to leave your state or your city, and they're leaving and they're going to Florida.
Wow. Great. Trump on Mamdani. And you know what they don't say? I was 16-0 last night, but mine were a little more boring, a little more mainstream. They were Republican conservatives, but we were 16-0.
Night for Democratic Socialist candidates last night. In the New York primaries, they swept and knocked out 2 incumbents. You're from New York. Why do you think it is that now the endorsement of Zoran Mamdani means more than the endorsement of Hakeem Jeffries?
Well, they're going radical left. They're going really, you talk about the Democrat socialists. It's really communist. These people, I watched that woman last night. That's not a socialist. I know socialists.
Who's he talking about? Daria Lisa or Claire? Oh my God.
Is a communist. And you know what they don't say is that I was 16-0 last night. But mine was a little more boring, a little more mainstream. They were Republican conservatives.
Which woman? Oh my God. I wonder, oh my God. Trump knows of Daria Lisa's existence or possibly Claire Valdez's existence or both. That's incredible. That is, he just knows a woman won. He didn't see shit. Wait, he wrote about DSA? No, he didn't. Mayor Mamdani pulled through 3 solid communists and has received a loud and universal applause for the fake news media. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. I went 16-0 last night. Why is he competing with Zoran? What the fuck? This is almost cute. I'm fucking forgetting that he's a fascist monster for a second. He's such a... God, he's like a little baby. He's like a little baby. Congratulations, Mr. Mayor. I went 16-0 last night, helping to elect wonderful American patriots, and the media doesn't say a word. Over the last 2 years, my endorsement has netted 259 primary wins, almost no losses, with 0 media attention. First of all, that's not even true. There has been a tremendous amount of media coverage on Donald Trump and how aggressively he has whipped his cult into shape. What is he talking about? What? He took out Cassidy, he took out Massey. That was covered a lot more than fucking Zoran Mamdani has ever been covered throughout his entire mayoral race so far. No losses with 0 media attention, fake news. Wait, he wrote about Goldman? Weak and pathetic Congressman Dan Goldman just lost big. I guess people didn't like him illegally targeting. Stop! Dan Goldman lost because he led the impeachment. Oh, I know he doesn't believe this, but that's so good. He's taking this. Okay, listen. The sequence of W's that the DSA put on the board last night has been received very poorly by all of our enemies. Okay? Centrist Democrats are mauling, they're pissing and shitting in their diapers, they're crying. The right-wing reactionaries are losing their minds because they kind of recognize there's no method that they've developed against, socialist comments, socialist policy making. They just don't have like a real adequate solution. Donald Trump has received this new information the best. Okay? He is just living in his own universe. He's living in his own little bubble where he's like, that's right. Dan Goldman lost because people hate that he impeached me. Zohran Mamdani had a big night, but you know who had a bigger night? Me. You just had a mental image of Brad Lander going into the Oval Office and being like, Zohran did, and speaking, Mr. President, Israel is doing a genocide, and I took out Dan Goldman as your humble servant. I'm having too much fun with this. Oh, that's awesome. I did that for you, Mr. President. Even this, in any event, this jerk is finally gone. Dan Goldman immediately moves towards the top of the list for potential Mamdani 2029 challenges. Dan Goldman may have been washed in his home district, but outside of that, he'll romp. Yes, very smart. Dude, Dan Goldman can't even order a cappuccino without getting fucking harassed for his pro-Israel position in his own district that he just lost by Assad margins. And this dumb fuck thinks he's going to win the mayoral race? What are you talking about? What planet are these people living on, man? Oh, Michael Rappaport crashing out. Zohran the Monster just announced that at this year's 9/11 memorial, he'll be reading the names of the pilots who flew the planes at the World Trade Center. You want to change? You got change. It's really funny that they're just like, yeah, let's just get extra races. I know our worldview is considered repulsive. We should be extra repulsive. And somehow we'll be able to fucking win people back. It's like, nope.
But we were 16-0. And if you look over the last 2.5 years, we're about 347 and just about 0. That's pretty good. But nobody writes that. But he picked 3. They won. They beat a guy named Dan Goldman, who's, a loser. He was one of my prosecutors, one of my many prosecutors that they used on me. Dan Goldman, not a good prosecutor, fortunately, but he's now looking for a job. I was very surprised to see, because he's a pretty liberal guy. When they go more liberal than Dan Goldman, they're really into Never Neverland.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. All right. Another crash out tweet. Nothing scarier than Jewish Mr. Rogers. Yeah, oh, dude, Michael Cohen. This is the tweet of the night, okay? The tweet of the night came from Michael A. Cohen, okay? Who always loves doing this kind of hysterics. He said, this is genuinely a scary night for New York City Jews. And of course, everyone fucking dunked on him. And it was really funny because everyone started dunking on him and being like, yeah, okay. Like, sure, buddy, shut the fuck up. Boo, all this stuff. Wait, what did Kyle say? Yeah, and it's really funny because like they were like, see, they don't even care about this New York Jewish man who's terrified, right? And it's like, yeah, because he's being objectively hysterical. I just don't understand who this is for once again. Okay? Like, who is this for? Who are you convincing with this? Just other people who are also trapped in this weird, nightmarish rabbit hole of your own invention.
His power. Thankfully, we live in Florida, and we don't have democratic socialists like they have.
Well, we shall see about that, sir.
In New York, and like that's something that people in New York are going to have to decide whether they want to stay there and deal with those policies or leave.
In the November midterm elections, as you know, Representative Luna, a lot of Republicans are basically happy that these very progressive Democratic socialists won because they think, especially in a state like New York, they think they can do better running against them. What do you think?
Look, I think that there's no question that these are very polarizing candidates. And I think for someone like me, too, obviously being a Republican, when I'm seeing some of the rhetoric that was put out by some of the newly elected members now to the Democrat Party and seeing how they were attacking people like Representative Goldman, who I don't really agree with on much. But when I see his office being sprayed with, stuff that you would really see, I think, out of, Nazi Germany. I'm seeing him being discriminated when he's going into a coffee shop because of the fact that he supports the state of Israel. I think that these are issues that we have to address head on because they might be talking about affordability. They might be talking about how they're going to benefit the American people. But if you really look at the heart of their message, it's actually a message of hate. And that's what I'm seeing. And so I think that, we're going to have lots of debate in the House. I don't speak for Jared, but what I can say from my perspective is I think that their rhetoric saying that the United States, they're going to, use it as a napkin, or the American flag as a napkin. I don't want to serve with someone like that.
Congressman, you've spoken publicly about some of the threats you've received.
Yeah, I mean, look, anti-Semitism is dramatically on the rise in America. It is a both-party problem. It's at the forefront of everything that's happening. I mean, Dan Goldman, almost was denied service for coffee at a coffee place in New York. I mean, these are things that, I remember my grandparents telling me as a kid what it was like in the run-up. And so we have to address it. We can have foreign policy debates. We can debate whether you like a leader of a country or don't like a leader of a country, right? We can have all those debates, but bringing the tactics that Jews went through, before the advent of the state of Israel. I mean, that's what brings up the emotions, is because we're seeing some of the same things happening again, where you don't want to serve a Jewish member of Congress. And the other thing is we're seeing silence, right? Where were all the people?
Dog, come on, dude. Come on. Like, it's very obvious what happened. Like, it's very obvious what happened in that situation. Get the fuck out of here.
People that wanted to speak out against what happened to Dan at that coffee shop. His opponent spoke out, Brad Lander, who won last night, and so I give Brad credit for stepping up and speaking up against that and saying that that's not acceptable. But a lot of people who are pretty verbose and have lots of things to say were pretty quiet about what happened to Dan.
Gross what happened at that coffee shop, totally.
Discrimination is discrimination. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Jewish. It's wrong.
Congressman, thanks to both of you very much for joining us. And I know you were friendly with Dan Goldman.
Didn't she lie about being Jewish or something? Am I misremembering? Am I crazy? Or am I misremembering this, chat? Is Jared Moskowitz sitting next to a woman who... Yeah, she also did the Code Pink thing where she lied and said Medea Benjamin assaulted her or whatever. But okay, no. I'm not thinking of George Santos. No. This one's even funnier. I'm pretty sure she lied about being Jewish, and then it turned out that she had I think, Nazi grandfather. It's even funnier than that. So, Wolf, who I love and admire and think is a sex icon, who, unfortunately has a not so great past as someone who worked for AIPAC, as a spokesperson for AIPAC, interviewing a woman who straight up fucking lied about her Jewish heritage. She took her maternal grandmother's maiden name, Luna, to represent her Hispanic heritage. In mid-August, Luna said on the Joe Rogan speech, non-human beings? Is this not it? Yeah, she identifies as a Messianic Jewish Christian. Yeah, I'm not misremembering, right? GOP Congresswoman's family rebukes Jewish heritage claims, says grandfather was a Nazi soldier. Yep, this is where that politics autism comes into play, okay? Why is that not on her Wikipedia, by the way? That seems relevant. Also, this could go in either direction. The family coming out and being like, of course she's not Jewish, we were Nazis, is You know, like what was going on? What type of timing were they on when they came out with that one? was that one of those like, no, we have to be honest about our heritage and background and it's deeply shameful, or were they like disgusting that you would say that type of situation? You know what I mean? Anyway.
I'm sure you're.
I can't remember his last name. He tells Hassan Piker that it translated into at least 2,000 votes. Check this out.
That's about the size of Dar Elisa's lead right now. So from those phone calls alone, 2,000 identified likely voters for Dar Elisa.
As of like 10:38 p.m. last night, when the race was called, I think this is what the vote tally was. Chevalier had 32,790 votes, and Espiat had 30,464 votes. I'm not going to do the very specific math, but it looks like a 2,300 vote lead. That's amazing. Really indicative of how these wins were brought about by a movement that mobilizes its people. Not just mobilizes, but organizes and mobilizes its people. A real fundamental change to see, it's one thing like, okay, AOC knocks off Crowley, and she does this through organizing and whatnot in 2018. Nobody expects it. Nobody sees it coming. And it's almost like a quiet insurgency. This was no surprises here other than the specific outcomes. And to mobilize in 3 different districts, and not just 3 different districts, but also Senate races, assembly races, is incredibly impressive. You will hear all sorts of different spins on this. Like what happens in New York can't translate into other places. You will hear that this was all about gentrification. It wasn't. Both Chevalier and Valdez won in cohorts, not just the sort of like new young white people, which I also think is sort of an amazing critique from people who are saying, well, we need candidates who will work in Iowa. Well,
where do you think the white people came?
Where do you think the white people came from? But it's also not the case that they just won, white podcast listeners. Here is Neera Tanden on CNN last night. Neera Tanden, who has spent the better part of the past couple of months attacking Hassan Piker on Twitter. Which, to be fair, she apologized to me for. And
it's true.
Attacking progressives across the country, saying that the DSA was a problem, et cetera, et cetera. Here she is on after the results have been made public.
This whole issue of 2010 and 2012, you're absolutely right. Republicans took a very competitive races and they put very extreme candidates in. And I think that is not what's happening in the Democratic Party today. And what you saw today is in the most liberal
Pause it for 1 second. Incidentally, the 3 Congress people that we've talked about, the winners of these primaries, we can call them Congress people now because they're going to win their race. There's no Republican Party in this city. What she is addressing is that in 2010, 2012, the Republicans nominated people for the Senate, like a woman named Christine O'Donnell. I believe she was in Delaware or Maryland. She had to publicly come out
The perpetually
and do
wrong.
an ad refuting the
perpetually wrong Neera Tanden, ladies and gentlemen, trying to protect her comfortable sinecure. Okay? That's all this is. Yeah. Wait, do you think Trump's approval is dropping mean Dems' approvals are rising? Anyways, regardless of your flawed logic, here are dozens of Dems going on a show. How many of them won their primary? Well, many of them. Actually, almost all of them won their primary last night. Interestingly enough, look at that. Magaphonics with a W here. I just want to know why Neera Tanden is replying to me. What do you mean? What do you mean? Because she fucking rips Xanny bars and drinks wine and loves posting.
Richie Torres, I know you won tonight. I didn't even look at your race. You probably won, you piece of shit. Remember, I was coming for you, but you got lucky this time. But I'll see you in 2. I'll see you in 2, motherfucker. I know you stopped talking shit. I know you stopped talking about Israel, Richie Torres. What happened? I'll see you in 2 years, motherfucker. Just wait. Richie, I'm coming for you, Richie. I'm coming for you too. This is our city. You think shit is sweet? Sit on that fucking seat for the next 2 years. I'll see you in 2, Richie. I hope you remember that. Every day, every time there's a decision that you can make where you are pro-Israel, I hope you remember. You got 2 more years, motherfucker. 2 more years. You better act right, Richie. Hey, by the way, I just want to point out that a 32-year-old organizer just took out the fucking Congressional Hispanic Caucus chair with a campaign that the fucking incumbent ran, talking about how she said, fuck Kamala Harris. That's where America's at right now.
I love Hassan when he's had a few drinks. Hassan was turned. What the fuck? Yeah, maybe I drank a little bit. Okay. You know, maybe I was a little off the Henny. Okay. Let's calm down. It happens to the best of us. Torres could have been primary last night. Why was there no push for Michael Blake? Again, resources. I'm not capable of singularly making or breaking races, okay? I can only aid and abet. I am not a kingmaker. And no, I'm not hungover at all. I don't know why I'm not hungover, actually. It's kind of weird. But I'm not capable of changing the outcome of races on my own. You know what I mean? That's why I said it's perfectly harmonious if there's a candidate with the fundamentals, hopefully a Democratic Socialist, or at least endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America, who has a door-knocking operation as a consequence of that, and a fundraising vehicle as well. You need labor unions, you need Bernie Sanders, you need Justice Democrats. You need it all. And when they all get together, magic happens, like it did last night. You understand? Speaking of which, magic is happening in the Abdul race. Zara fucking Larson. I endorse this message. This man's got the mandate of heaven, dude. He's got it. The jet lag is counteracting the hangover? Maybe. All right. I'm skipping the speeches.
I'm so excited to get to work and to bring all of you with me to Washington. And I know that it won't be easy. Because fascism is on the rise, Trump is in office, and the odds, as always, are stacked against us. The odds were stacked against another young Muslim socialist. To become mayor of New York City. And so I'll tell you honestly, I'm not concerned about that. Thank you all.
This win is incredible. Daria Lisa began a campaign where she was up against every possible set of odds, and she pulled off a victory that is helping to rewrite politics in our city and in our country. She is someone who brings a clarity, a conscience, and a conviction to a politics that has often been missing those things. And in a city and in a district that has been so desperate for leadership when it comes to putting working people back at the heart, she will deliver that. And it was an honor to be one part of this incredible campaign and to see her win alongside Brad Lander, Claire Valdez, and every single one of the state legislative candidates that I had the privilege of supporting. It shows that last June was not an anomaly. It was not an aberration. It was the beginning of a new kind of politics. And I cannot wait for what that next.
Why is no one saying he wasn't supporting them technically? You know what I mean? Oh. Okay, one column A, celebratory. One column B, malding.
To right-wing tough guys. Is that how America is supposed to be? Because that's the way it looks. These people don't believe in borders, capitalism, our founding fathers. They're here to steal, punish us, and then throw around welfare. This is a third world takeover. This is what happens when you import the third world. Did you know that New York City is 70% non-white, 40% foreign-born, 50% of the apartments, they don't even speak English, not even their first language. These three women who Mamdani endorsed weren't even born in New York City, weren't even raised in New York City. They're carpetbaggers.
Oh my God. He got so... Damn. He got more raises than I expected. What? Philly D put a nice compilation together of your statements last night?
Most of the attention is from Hassan Piker.
I'll see you in 2 years, motherfucker. Just wait. Richie, I'm coming for you, Richie. You think shit is sweet. Sit on that seat for the next 2 years. I'll see you in 2, Richie. The decade of socialism. It's coming to a neighborhood near you. When I said we were going to let 1,000 Zorros bloom, this is what I meant. Hey, after tonight, my price went up. You have to be a Democratic Socialist if you want some of this shine.
And regarding Democratic Socialists, I mean, the DSA's membership has surged ever since the dam broke with Mamdani. Well, not universal. They've steadily been picking up win after win across the country. We're getting a Democratic Socialist into the general for LA's mayor, and then actually getting one elected to be DC's mayor last week. Also last fall, a self-identified socialist who's not officially part of the DSA won the race to be Seattle's mayor. And you've got Democratic Socialists aiming for congressional seats in Colorado, Florida, and Missouri this year as well. And actually after that, they're reportedly setting their sights on the White House. You have Politico reporting that the group's conducting surveys at its 250 local chapters this summer to get a feel for who members think should run in 2028. And while sadly for his fans, thanks to the U.S. Constitution, Mamdani, he can't run to be president because he wasn't born in the country, there is then someone that's on the top of a lot of people's minds, and that is Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. So one of the things there is that she has so far declined to say whether she's considering a bid for the presidency, and rumor has it that she might be eyeing Chuck Schumer's Senate seat. But hey, with all of this, there's kind of a few different places to land. First, I should definitely note, just across the board, it's not really all smooth sailing for the far left from here, because despite all the hype from last night, it is still true that DSA-backed candidates haven't won a race outside of a major city yet. And then with that, you have some having the argument that the more they do win, the more ammunition Republicans have to terrify kind of old white people, as they've already been seeming to do.
Well, it actually happened a little faster than we thought it was going to, but the entire Democrat Party has collapsed because...
Sure. I see people collapsing, but I don't think it's the entire Democratic Party. The people I'm watching collapse in real time are the Republicans and the right-wing Democrats who have grown comfortable in their fucking seats, not doing right by their constituents. That's who I see collapsing. And I like it. I like watching them mauled. It makes me happy.
Carpetbaggers, Jessica. And everyone's talking about like, oh, Mamdani, oh, you got all this juice. Like he's this like harmless novice politician on a hot streak. This guy is trouble. Yep. This guy is a Trojan horse. And communism is going to take over the Democratic Party, and then we're going to have to beat it because you can't do anything else besides beat it to a pulp.
You have to win.
I love the guy who's supposedly not worried. Does this sound like a guy who's not worried? Because if what he's saying is true and the Democrats are going in this like crazy direction that everyone's gonna hate. Oh shit. He was asked about the rough night for Hakeem.
Results in New York last night. You said Mamdani was not the future of the party. Do you regret those statements?
I think the future of the party is diverse and is anchored in the fact that we've got candidates all across the country who are running to take back control of the House of Representatives so we can end the national nightmare that's taken place. Mayor Mamdani has been off to a great start as mayor. We have a good working relationship, and that will continue moving forward.
The NRCC dropped off flowers at your office this morning and condolences for the candidates that you endorsed that lost. Do you have any reaction to that?
The thing is that the NRCC and Republicans spent millions of dollars trying to pick Mike Lawler's opponent, and they failed miserably. And Kate Conley, who's now the Democratic nominee, is going to take Mike Lawler out in November, and we're going to take back control of the House of Representatives.
He's lying. He's claiming that Effie Phillips Staley, who's been on this broadcast, was hand-selected by the NRC's, the National Republicans, that were promoting her. They were not. They did attack her, but that's it.
And then finally, do you have any comment? Are you concerned at all about a primary challenge in 2 years from, a Mamdani endorsed candidate?
When you ask me a serious question, I'll give you a serious answer.
Why do you think the Mamdani endorsed candidates won?
That's a good question. And every race is going to be judged on its own merits. And, I'm sure that there'll be an assessment of what happened in the Goldman race and what happened in the Espaillat race. But I'm thankful for the service of those two individuals.
Thank you.
Thank you, leader.
Of course he's mad. He just got slapped up by a fucking 34-year-old Muslim socialist who was an unknown entity a year ago. Okay? You guys understand that, right? Like, that is insanely disrespectful. Of course he's fucking frustrated. He's probably scared. I want to show you two photos. First one is end of February 2025 or beginning of April 2025. Okay? And the second one is the beginning of February 2026. Think about how much has changed in American politics since February 2025. This guy was an unknown in February 2025. This entire slate were unknown. And this isn't to like glaze myself at all, by the way. This is all credit to the wonderful candidates that put their names out there, who worked tirelessly, and all credit to the DSA. Like, think about that. Think about that. Did you think if you were one of the 20,000 people watching this this shared workspace DSA NYC Slate speed dating seminar, that these people would be changing New York politics and changing American politics? No, you didn't think that at all. Think about how short of a period of time it was to go from Zoran being an unknown entity. When we're walking the streets of Astoria, people are coming up to me, excited to see me in their neighborhood. To now, if I'm next to Zoran, ain't nobody's looking at me. They don't know who the fuck I am. They're like, fuck you. Get out of the way. I'm trying to see the mayor. That is literally just a year. One singular year and change. Not only that, but his popularity then has now fed the next movement of socialists, Democratic Socialists of America, cadre candidates.
I don't think we're on opposite pages. You can ask him whether he thinks we're on opposite pages. He doesn't believe we're on opposite pages. There are multiple races that I've gotten involved in supporting House Democratic incumbents, which is what
I have done as leader and will continue to do. So with respect to races where he may have endorsed a different candidate, we have agreed to strongly disagree, and we put it into the hands of the people of New York to decide what's the best path forward.
Is he making a mistake by trying to point the caucus so sharply to the left?
Well, that's a question you have to direct to him. There are 215 members of the House Democratic Caucus. A handful of primaries that go in one direction or the other in a given state or two aren't going to reshape who we are as House Democrats. As House Democrats, we've been very clear. What brings us together is a focus on driving down the high cost of living, fixing our broken healthcare system, and cleaning up corruption. Thank you, everyone.
I mean, that's the Cope King. No, I'm good. Thank you. Sure. You can just leave it right there. You can put it on the table right there. Thank you. You too. The View host melting down over Daria Liza.
Implying that being pro-Palestinian and
no, there were pro-Hamas. It was on October 8th. October 8th, the only thing that had happened is that Israel had been attacked and people had been brutally murdered and raped. And
wow, I didn't realize that all of the people that Israel killed immediately during October 7 and October 8 were just not real human beings at all. Wow. Just like the 75 years of apartheid and all of the murder at the behest of maintaining this occupation and apartheid in the hands of Israel also didn't count. These people did not arrive at the right moral position early with no real reason. They knew what Israel had done immediately during October 7 and immediately after October 7. So by October 8, Israel had killed almost, I believe, the same number of people that the Palestinian resistance had killed. But it sounds so strange when you exist in this universe where nothing happened before October 7. Nothing happened before October 7. Nothing happened after October 7 that Israel did, you know? And interestingly enough, only at a certain point did people start to recognize that Israel may have gone a little too far. I think after 20,000 children. Only then were you allowed to say, Israel, cut it out. Netanyahu, not Israel, sorry. Oh, apologies for the deep anti-Semitism I just demonstrated right there. Taking it back, rewind. If you subscribe, you can rewind and maybe rehear me do that moment over. Apologies to everybody. I meant Netanyahu. The one guy, the only guy. Okay? Famously, only Adolf Hitler is responsible for Nazism. Famously, only Benjamin Netanyahu is responsible for Israel's war crimes. Today is the day my campaign for Anti-Semite of the Year begins once again.
so on October 8th, I don't think there needed to be rallies cheering on Hamas.
You're calling her an anti-Semite?
I'm going to full-blown call her an anti-Semite. She would proudly call herself that, trust me.
And I recall a lot of people talking about Mamdani and what a terrible mayor he was going to be and what an anti-Semite he was, and he has proven to be quite the opposite. He's proven to be a kingmaker, a leader. Great for this city. So that's your opinion. Yeah. Not implying that
Psychotic. I got stomach poisoning trying to take a shot every time someone says Mamdani's last name wrong. You mean Mamdani? Mambabi. Mamdupada. Mandandi. Zoran. Mandandi. Zoran Madani. Zoran Modafinil. And baby. Zoran Babadoobie. Zagreb. Morocco. Anyway. Can we check in on Scott Libido? Oh, shit. True. I wonder where Scott Libido is right now. I've noticed that there's a direct correlation between level of rage and mispronunciation rate of Mamdani, except for Bernie. He also kind of fucks it up every now and then, and it's cute. All right, let's hear from my goat, who's been putting in the work. Jamal Bowman. I don't know. I mean, look, I don't want to say nothing, but it is very interesting that Jamal Bowman is a fairly radical guy. And I wonder if it's because he's like a former congressperson, if that's the reason. But like, it is kind of shocking that they consistently let him on CNN, because he will always go on these panels and say the quiet part out loud all the time. Like, he's always on point. And it's really interesting that CNN keeps inviting him back and over and over again to both be on the panels and to be interviewed. And I wonder what like decision making takes place in the producer level, where they're like, look, we got to have somebody, you know?
The fear mongering isn't going to work anymore. The division isn't going to work anymore. And unfortunately, it's coming from Trump, but it also was coming from some of the Democratic incumbents in these races as well. It's not going to work anymore. We want solidarity. We want coalitions fighting for working class people and values. And I think that works anywhere across the country. We see it in New Jersey. I think we're going to see it in Colorado next week with Malat Keros when she wins her election as well. The fear mongering.
My king, my goat. Check logs regarding this stage of socialist awakening. Additionally, my previous log message, Bernie's the only historical figure other than Debs in the U.S. that has ignited further socialist awakening. I agree. I mean, there have been plenty of like local electeds, even members of Congress in the past as well. I think American politics was far more radical even in the 60s, especially black radical politics. Black revolutionary politics was always openly communist, openly socialist, openly communist. So I think you're wrong. You're just talking about white people socialism. Okay? White people socialism that has reached, like, has been able to penetrate collective consciousness. Socialist, by the way, this historical socialist grassroots building in Congress has happened 2 to 3 times in American history. One time leading to the Civil War, another McCarthyism, another LBJ civil rights concession. This is historical. We need to harden ourselves. Yeah, Summerlee cooked as always. We're going to obviously cover Jamie Harrison's take and then Summerlee's response. Jamie Harrison, former head of the DNC, former perpetual loser to Lindsey Graham, but great fundraiser, Jamie Harrison, comes out with a statement after last night's sequence of victories for the socialist movement. Says, I say this with no ill will or animosity. If you hate the Democratic Party, then please don't run for our nomination. Don't use our resources. Don't rely on our volunteers. Don't use our infrastructure. Don't ask Democrats to invest their time, money, and energy in your campaign. Focus on building the party you actually support. Political parties aren't perfect, but they're built by millions of people who knock doors, make calls, organize meetings, and fight for the values they believe in. If you don't believe in the party, then don't ask its members to carry you across the finish line. And let me be clear. I don't care if you're progressive, moderate, or conservative. I work with Democrats across the ideological spectrum. We didn't always agree, but we understood that building a stronger Democratic Party was part of the job. Yeah, okay, so then why are you building a weaker Democratic Party by being like, hey, I know all of the intensity, all the dynamism, all the grassroots momentum is on the side of the Democratic Socialists of America, but you guys should leave. You guys should leave. I mean, this is Keir Starmer. This is literally what Keir Starmer did. It's so funny to have this take right after Keir Starmer resigned. Okay? If you hate the party, spend your days attacking it and have contempt for all the people who make it possible, then see above. Straight up Keir Starmer. Summerlee responds, the party does not belong to any individual or generation, shouldn't belong to any corp or special interest, and like all things, must adapt to the times on its own and everybody's survival. For its own and everybody's survival. We have a two-party duopoly, and we still have a duty to fight for our freedom. Millions of people believe our party should be bolder, less beholden, and loyal to the masses, and not the massa. Yeah, when Jamie Harrison says he doesn't care about being conservative, he's right. When he says he doesn't care about being progressive, he's not. He does care about that. He just doesn't want the left flank to seize control over the party. What's really interesting about the Keir Starmer comparison is that they also hired the same American consultants. Keir Starmer did. Okay? Something to consider. Yeah, Harrison presided over the DNC while we lost the presidency, House, and the Senate. Screw that guy. Hart. True. It's true. Adam Hamawi coming in hot. Also endorsing Melot Kiros. Let's go. Keir Starmer won, though. Yeah, where's he at now? You think the Labor Party's doing well? You think the Labor Party is a party that we could look to for hope? Michael from Pennsylvania believes we can get 100 DSA in-house seats. I'm sold. Everyone's saying that Dem Socialists can only win in deep blue districts. That means that we have at least 168 targets. We are coming for every one of you. True. Sam Hasselby. I've been a Democrat before I could vote. Before Jamie Harrison, a lobbyist for Bank of America, Walmart, Wells Fargo, and the genocidal Podesta Group rose in the party with the Reaganite faction. Harrison himself has never won an election. Yes. Oh, this is funny. Meghan McCain, to my beautiful Jewish friends in America, we love you. You are not alone. We are just as freaked out as you are and seeing with clear eyes what is happening. What about your ugly Jewish friends? I guess we can all go fuck ourselves. Yeah, that reminds me of the fucking Adam Friedland moment with Chelsea. Another failed daughter with Chelsea Clinton, where he said Chelsea Clinton isn't even Jewish, she's just ugly. Frankly, as a Jew in America, I'm freaked out by this tweet. Freaked out because she's not factoring in the Jewish friends of hers that haven't gone through the clavicular lookism course. Yeah, sorry. To my Jewish friends, if you haven't subscribed to the clavicular lookism course, then you're kind of cooked. You're on your own. I will not be coming to save you. I will not be coming to defend you. Hella corny, but I love it anyways. Obviously, this is Zoran's night, but it's worth remembering and appreciating the guy who made this all possible back when none of it was imaginable. I mean, it's true, man. It's true. I've also literally sent this meme to FaZe before and other people as well. Like this identical meme. We moved on from clavicular.
Sure. Awesome.
I love you.
Cheers, man. Fuck. I'm sorry, by the way. I didn't mean to call you a man. I did not mean to do that.
I don't mind.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry about that.
Oh my God. What is happening? Dude, is woke back? I think he used to be a chud and then had a change of heart or realized being right wing was corny or something, if I recall correctly. But it's nice to see people change regardless. Oh my God. Low IQ NPC girls brutally failed to rage bait me by calling me gay. Wait.
Do you suck dick?
I prefer pussy, but
Oh, you look like something.
that's okay. Rage bait failed.
What?
Rage bait failed. Go next. What's the next?
I don't really care.
No, what's the next rage bait?
Do you have makeup?
Yep. Do you?
Yeah, I do. Because I'm a ghost.
Is he been empathy maxing? Is empathy maxing the new meta? Oh my God. This was like, okay. This is androgenic, right? That's what his name is, I'm pretty sure. You might recognize him from the Looks Maxer tiers, where there was a point where I believe he got up to like number 2, like he got up to the second slot. Okay? If you recall. You also might remember him from his adventures or misadventures with Clavicular, where he was sitting next to Clavicular and Clavicular was overdosing and he was like, do you want an Eddie? Do you want a fucking Adderall, mate? Do you want an Adderall? Yeah. And it turns out Clavicular didn't need an Adderall in that situation. I think he needed to go to the hospital, which he did. But also, you might remember the peak moment where he was at the top of the leaderboard and then he dropped all the way to the bottom. where he was hat fishing. He doesn't have a great hairline, so he wears fake hair, and he wears a hat over his fake hair to like hold his fake hair together. And someone brutally snatched his wig, sorry, and that actually caused him to lose a lot of his Chad points. This is all the same guy, yeah. Yeah, he got snatch mogged. And I think that was his real turning point. Like some might say, oh, his turning point, and he started empathy maxing after the OD hair system. The Lord, genuinely, he was a chud, but then realized trans women were actually looks maxers as well, by the way, and now he's woke. Dead ass, he had a convo with them and actually respects their dedication to it, Lamau. Fuck it. We take those. You know? Yeah, he had his frame destroyed. He watched his best friend and the top of the lookism leaderboard OD in front of him. And he turned his life around. He realized that trans people are also looks maxers, right? Except healthy. That's the biggest irony, in my opinion, with the whole looks maxing situation is that, like, I don't want to say trans people are looks maxing because, like, that's actually good for trans people to do gender affirming care and gender confirmation. Whereas I do think that the looks maxing meta is deeply unhealthy. But you get the point. I mean, I've often joked about how clavicular is the first instance of male to male trans. A male to male transgender person. He has a video about this. Okay.
If you are walking around and you see a transgender person or a gay person or a woman not wearing many clothes or a guy that's trying to show off and you feel any kind of resentment or negative emotion towards them, you just got fucking mobbed. You understand? You let them perturb your mental state. You let them enter your brain and ruin your day. You got fucking mobbed. You need to learn better emotional regulation. If you are walking...
I mean, what can I say? What can I say? No notes, honestly. No fucking notes. This guy is right. He is totally right. Oh, God, Woke 2.0 is so wonderful. Every now and then we just get random gifts. Okay? Woke 2.0 is going swimmingly well. Okay? Speaking of Woke 2.0, let's get back to the socialism W's.
Well, among Democrats...
My favorite Toledo boy, Harry Emden, was on CNN last night. What is this?
Controversial lefty influencer Hassan Piker even joined in on the Dem bashing, going on a tirade against pro-Israel rep Richie Torres on his live stream during the NYC DSA takeover.
Richie Torres, I know you won tonight. I didn't even look at your race. You probably won, you piece of shit. Remember, I was coming for you, but you got lucky this time. But I'll see you in two. I'll see you in two, motherfucker. I know you stopped talking shit. I know you stopped talking about Israel, Richie Torres. What happened? I'll see you in 2 years, motherfucker.
Never seen anyone defend the DNC as much as New York Post these past few weeks, Lamau. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, huh? The 9/11 crew is back, promising to destroy from within. We're warned they would come and destroy from within. Every AIPAC endorsed politician is getting voted out. America first. Oh, don't you worry, Mike Johnson. We are awake, and you'll see that in November when you're no longer speaker. Win a couple off-ranked choice primaries with low voter turnout. These idiots think they can run the party.
Just wait. Richie, I'm coming for you, Richie.
I'm living for all this toasted Hasanabi content. Yeah. Listen, I was a little buzzed, okay? I was off the Henny.
Themselves, the Democratic Socialists of America, have a higher net favor rating than the Democratic Party does, at least those who are members of Congress. I mean, just take a look here. Dem Socialists of America, plus 17 points. Democrats in Congress, plus 4 points. No wonder that Dem Socialists are getting nominated.
At times like this, I do wonder how Ethan Klein has taken the news. A blast from the past. You think when he launched his journey 2 years ago, when he was like, we are going to make sure that Hassan never gets mainstream recognition. We're going to make sure that, we're going to make sure that we just stamp out this kind of like anti-Israel sentiment. It's anti-Semitism. And everyone's going to love me when I win my lawsuits. Like when he started that, like, did he post stories? Was he losing his mind? Because it's been a sequence of motherfucking W's, dude. They're cooking your ops with fuck Kamala Harris memes. No, not that guy. How, dude, he didn't have a good night either. He did not have a good night. My God. My God. You ever wonder what Jessica... Oh, dude, that was awesome, yeah. All three Mamdani-endorsed candidates have won or are on track to win their Democratic primaries for Congress. You ever wonder what Jessica Ramos is thinking at times like this? She's probably thinking about this. I know everyone's paying attention to congressional primary results, but it looks like Jessica Ramos, who controversially backed Andrew Cuomo over Mamdani last year, just lost her state Senate seat to Jessica Gonzalez Rojas. Dude. Jessica Ramos, man, what a fucking fall from grace. God. How terrible. Oh, well. Wow, NBC's TikTok announcing Daria Liza's win against Espaillat has over 1.1 million views and 136,000 likes. The comments are heavily praising Mamdani and the DSA. Of course they are. Of course they are.
Across the political map in different primaries because, simply put, they're more popular than the Democrats currently in charge.
Okay, I'm just thinking back to when I was sitting here and Zoran Mamdani was sitting there when he was running, and I asked him about capitalism.
Yes.
And he had no problem saying that he had real issues with it. Okay, he wasn't afraid to say it. By the way, he ended up winning. It didn't hurt him. How do Democrats today view socialism compared to capitalism?
There's a reason why it didn't hurt him, and that is simply because this is one of the biggest political changes I've seen during my lifetime. Match up socialism, capitalism among Democrats. You go back 16 years ago, 2010, capitalism and socialism right there, favorable rating, 51%, 50%. Look at it now. Socialism clearly in the lead among Democrats. 66% of them view socialism favorably, just 42% view capitalism favorably. No wonder Mamdani had no problem blasting it.
Which is fascinating because when you look at races coming up in New York, you've got a big one up in the Bronx. And you've got Zoran Mamdani endorsing a Democratic Socialist. Hakeem Jeffries not going with the more traditional incumbent. So there are two big races involving Democratic Socialists coming up in New York that Mamdani's endorsed. Tell us something we don't know.
I'll tell you something you don't know, and that is that the Democratic Socialists are likely to win one of those races, the one down in Brooklyn, going to beat the the Brooklyn borough president. You take a look there, look at that, an 81% chance to win in Brooklyn. And in northern...
Yeah, well... Turns out both of them won. All right. New House Democrats reeling from New York primary results. One called it an earthquake and a huge defeat for leadership. It was a tough night, Representative Meek said, Queens Dem Party chair. Senior House Dem asked if members are worried. Yes, they are. More, Swozy. Time for Dem establishment to wake up to the threat posed to them by the DSA. No, dude. No, you're missing the point. No, dumbass. It's time for you to wake up to the threat posed by Trump. Okay? It's time for you to wake up to the threat posed by capitalism. You fucking idiot. What is wrong with you? Oh my God, these people are so ridiculous. This is literally the point. This is the problem. You think your left flank, which is more representative of your constituents, is closer to your constituents, is the issue. Not your right flank. And certainly not the fascists. The only reason why DSA cadre candidates can win these races is because you, for years and years, thought you could manage capitalism, and for years and years thought you didn't have to do anything, and you allowed fascists to take over this goddamn country, and you forced the contradictions to heighten, and you forced Democrats who were socially conditioned to vote blue no matter who, to assume that like moderate pivot to the center stuff was actually good for winning elections, to recognize that that was a lie. You caused them to look for this alternative. You caused them to arrive at the alternative that democratic socialism was actually a better mechanism for electability. Going to be a clean sweep for Republicans when it comes down to it? Brother, I don't think you are paying attention to American politics in any way, shape, or form. Okay? I genuinely, you have to be living on a different planet. Unless you're talking about like the Irish Republicans or something. I don't know, because it doesn't make any sense to be living in this current reality and have this assumption, to make this assumption, to have this belief. But sure, I mean, go off, King. You're so right. What I also want to check in on is Asmongold. What has Asmongold said, I wonder? I think he just called me a terrorist and moved on, right? Like, I suspect that his only electoral analysis when we're putting numbers on the board is, they're going to ruin the party, chat. They're going to ruin the Democratic Party. He's a terrorist. He's a bunch of terrorists won. You know, that's that type of shit, right? Unbased. Progressive reacts. Jayapal, clear Mayor Mamdani's endorsement turnout machine really does matter. Kana, the energy of our party is clearly with the left. The bottom line, holy shit, said a second senior House Democrat. Buckle up. Oh, moderate Democrats also had this to say. The centrist House Democrat who spoke anonymously said the results show that appeasement doesn't work. You have to be tough. Nancy Pelosi brought a machine gun to a knife fight. You can't win with these guys by playing patty cake. You want to know the irony in this statement? Nancy Pelosi did the exact opposite of that. She literally famously did not do that. She famously actually played patty cake. She was able to set up coalitions with AOC, with Ilhan Omar, give them incredibly favorable committee positions, in committee positions that they wanted to be a part of. Okay? That is exactly what was so good with Nancy Pelosi's like legitimate run as Speaker Emerita. Okay? Nancy Pelosi very famously was able to bring some of this radical potential into the party and maybe even neuter it effectively. Asmold said the DSA won because immigrants voted for immigrant candidates. More of the replacement bullshit. Oh, nice. He said it's race communism and blamed immigrants. Mr. Vote Blue no matter who says it doesn't apply to the DSA.
Who does not apply to DSA. You have my full blessing to not like lend support to Valdez or Chevalier. These are safe blue seats.
Wait. So if I'm in California, I don't have to vote for Kamala Harris? Also, this is really funny. The idea that like the 12 people that watch Hutch are going to be like, well, I guess I can't support. Hutch gave me his blessing. So I guess I'm no longer supporting Claire Valdez. Against what? Is there even a fucking Republican running against her? It's New York. What are you talking about? I guess that's the reason why he's like, oh, it's a safe blue seat.
They are not going to lose in November. They're going to win. You have my blessing to...
Asman basically called you gay?
Every single time. It's so weird. He's downplaying it. He's 100% trying to downplay it. And this is the thing that I feel like a lot of the women, because there's a lot of women that watch Hassan, right? And, you know, he takes, I don't know how a hairy Turkish man has the biggest feminine energy on the entire website. I don't know how this has happened.
Big dog, it doesn't work that way. This is a tried and true failed method that Republicans try to engage me with. This is not the first time I heard this. I mean, sure, yes, I'm very gay. I'm a gay man. You got me. I got a lot of feminine energy.
But somehow it has. And so there's a lot of women that watch him. I think, you know, he's a good looking guy. And on top of that.
Yeah, I think he's, when he says feminine energy, I think he means I bathe. You know, I shower every day. Sometimes if I'm feeling frisky, twice a day. Like a woman. I I wash my body.
Like he thinks like a woman a lot of times. He does. Thinks like a chick. And so I think that they watch him and they're like, yeah, that's so true. You're so right. You know, and that's it. And so that's it. I feel very disappointed. And this is the problem, is that he will make excuses for you getting raped as long as it's being done by somebody who he can use politically to his advantage.
Wait, what? Wait, what does that even mean? What the fuck? Bro, okay, I'll be honest. Did not think he was going to go in this direction, which is, it went 0 to 100. Like, he's like, he thinks like a woman to dupe you ladies. You should watch me instead, because he would love for you to be sexually assaulted as long as it advances a political agenda. What is the political agenda? You like Donald Trump. It's just pure projection, I guess.
And I think that's really disgusting. It's very disgusting to do that. Who would do that?
You good, bro?
By the way, watch his face. Watch what he does.
Apologist.
You see, he looked over.
You good, bro?
He looked over to make sure that his hand was on the correct amount, on the correct button. And I also want to say that, you know, really, I think...
What? My hand was on the correct button. What is he? I feel like sometimes when we watch the Asmongold show, the Asmongold clip show, I'm confused about how he's analyzing the things that I'm saying, because they're like 18 layers deep, because they have already like well-established memes in their community about like what I do all the time, that I assume, like, to the average person, to the onlooker, when they encounter this, they're like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? Is he all right? Like, is he going through like a manic episode or something? But inside of the community, they're like, yeah, you're right. He is hoping to hit the right button and not like I guess it's like, is it a shot collar joke? I assume. Like, that's what he's got to be implying, right?
He self-reports every single time that he uses his soundboard, because the behavior and the movement that he makes is identical to the movement that he made whenever Kaya appeared to be shocked on his stream.
What?
It is the exact 1-for-1.
Yeah, dude, that's where my fucking soundboard is. That's where my zins are. That's where my soundboard is. Are you okay? Yeah, numerous times throughout the day, I'm ruffling around. What I can't understand, he's obsessed with me. Yes, I know. Of course he is. But what I don't understand is why there's so many people who are also, I guess, like equally obsessive enough to understand what frequency he's on. Because this is schizo shit, right? This is what you would hear from, you know, guys standing at near a subway station, standing on a soapbox, screaming into the ether, right? And you're like, sorry, bro, I don't have any change on me. You move on with your life, right? Or if you're kind enough, if you're one of the you know, very woke people, you basically assume the role of a social worker in that moment, and you try to help that person, right? Very nice for people to do that. But there's a fucking market for it. The internet is so crazy that there is a market for that guy, where they're like, I literally understand the frequency you're on. It's so perfect. It speaks to me in ways that no one has ever spoken to me.
Does the exact same thing. Just interesting.
Manual labor would help Asmongold a lot. Yeah, guy who called me feminine and gay. Men are naturally more attractive than women on average. That's why women need makeup. This isn't me being gay. It's science. Yeah. Why do all your ops eventually turn into psychosexual stalkers? I'm dying. They have to bring up your body and sexuality every time. I think I think I know why. I don't think all of my ops are sexually obsessed with me, but they are probably sexually frustrated. And I think they also know like that there's a big audience for it. Like I suspect that some of this does legitimately come from a lot of people who are just like upset, frustrated that they don't get I guess any female attention, and they assume I do. I'm not saying I do, but I think they assume I do. Right? And that's maybe a cause for envy. That could be part of it. So then it develops this like weird psychosexual obsession. But I do personally love it whenever a guy that looks like Asmongold is like, yeah, this guy, not very mask. You know what I mean? Anyway, getting back to centrists malding. As a liberal progressive, I would be fine with the party moving left if these wins were about Medicare for all, reproductive rights, universal child care, taxing billionaires, and creating affordable housing, but they weren't. Really interesting. If Shannon Watts had actually paid any attention to this race at all, she would realize that that is precisely what these wins were about. But, of course, she's too busy defending Israel. What is this? I'm trying to find the words for how serious this moment is, and I don't have them. Try grok. Anyway.
Just as in Denver.
Maylock Heroes, her race is coming up. And Andrew Solander from Axios reports, Project 218, Super PAC, tied to American Bridge, is out with an ad going negative against Maylock Heroes, primary challenger to Representative Diana DeGette in Colorado 1. She's endorsed by a group that wants to defund the Denver police, withdraw from NATO, and abolish the United States Senate. So they're attacking DSA, okay? They're attacking some of the DSA left positions. And what's interesting is, so this race is next Tuesday, okay? And in the last moment, what a lot of these supposedly fake progressive candidates, or even candidates that are in districts that are far more progressive than they actually are, comfortable blue districts, a lot of them end up doing this exact same thing. They try to hit like racist notes. They try to say like, oh, these people are radical. They'll be like, oh, she's posted in ways that I don't like. And I think most people don't care about that. What they care about is just the policies. But as I've said with the Daria Lisa race, there is one way to combat this, right? Effectively. And that is by door knocking and out organizing this outside moneyed interest. Because they can flood the markets with negative attack ads, but we can make that work against them. How? Because a negative attack ad might be the first time that a person learns about a candidate. Okay? If it stays with that negative attack ad and they don't search further to understand where this candidate is coming from or what their policy positions are, why they're being attacked, then that's bad. Okay? We can't beat them on the money side. We can be competitive, but we can't beat them on the money side. Israel has too much money. All these other groups have too much money, right? But what we can do is out-organize them, because once they know about Maylock Heroes, if they get a phone call from someone who's phone banking for Maylock Heroes, or if they get a door knock from someone who's door knocking for Maylock Heroes, and they learn about her actual policies, they will recognize that these ads were bullshit, and they are more likely to go out and vote for her. Because here's the thing. TV ads and mailers flood the market. And usually they're obviously very negative, because none of these politicians can actually stand by their track record, stand by their constituent services, right? So they have to immediately go on the attack and say, oh, my opposition is radical, she's bad, because they can't say, this is what I've done for you, right? And the thing is, that doesn't actually improve turnout at all. That actually depresses turnout. So the negative attack ads don't cause people to go out and vote for Diana DeGette. That's the expectation, right? Because when they mass release these negative attack ads, they think, oh, they're going to get so scared about Maylot Kiros that they're going to come out and vote for me. This didn't work with the anti-Trump messaging from Hillary Rodham Clinton, if you recall. Negative attack ads do not work in favor of boosting turnout for the candidate. It just depresses turnout across the board. So we can turn that disadvantage to an advantage. And that's why we have to out-organize them. Okay? That's why we have to fight extra hard and out-organize them. Because while a mailer can stop someone from voting for Maylot Kiros because they're like, ooh, she's a little crazy. What's far more powerful than that is actually canvassing. What's far more powerful than that is person-to-person contact, either via phone or, even better, in person. And you get the most bang for your buck on phone banking, even more so than canvassing. Okay? Look at the defamatory shit that DeGette is saying about, I saw Diana DeGette, sponsored, paid for by Diana DeGette. This is a must-read article in Colorado polls disqualifying Maylot Kiros rationalizes killing Jews. Fucking bullshit. It's also a big mistake because this is a very woke district. Okay? Diana DeGette is in some ways not dissimilar to Antonio Reynoso, but worse, I would say. She has always presented herself as a faux progressive, right? Kind of on the fence, somewhat of a more progressive member of Congress, but not so progressive that she has lifelong advocacy for certain bills, certain provisions, things of that nature, right? So for that reason, when she turns around and tries to hit in a place like Denver, Colorado, her much younger, much more progressive socialist opponent on known slanders against anti-Zionists, that actually primes voters to vote for Maylot Kiros. This is what we saw with Abdul El-Sayed in Michigan. Okay? Going super negative across the board is not good, but going super negative on the issue of Israel makes you look like you're pro-Israel, or even more pro-Israel than you actually might even be. Yes, attack ad stops a person from voting either way. Canvassing promotes voting. Canvassing draws turnout. So this, while it's probably not great to be a recipient of, and I'm obviously very familiar with this kind of slander, with these kinds of attack ads, I withstand it all day, every day. I also understand that this kind of attack ad is actually good for Maylot Kiros because especially in a young district like Denver, Colorado, a lot of college students, a lot of highly educated voters, a lot of voters who are distraught and disgusted with the things that Israel has done. When they see that, they don't believe it. They don't go, oh my God, I can't believe it. Maylot Kiros rationalizes killing Jews. No, they think, oh, here we go again. Another pro-Israel candidate that is an establishment Democrat is attacking a young insurgent that embodies the same or similar qualities that we have seen on television with the New York City DSA slate, with Zohran Mamdani, and that causes them to actually go out and vote for Maylot Kiros.
When Maylot Kiros moved to Denver last year, she brought an extreme agenda with her. She's endorsed by a group that wants to defund the Denver police, withdraw from NATO, and
will they say it's the Democratic Socialists of America? I wonder.
Abolish the United.
I'm willing to bet they won't. There's no way they're dumb enough to also associate it with DSA.
United States Senate. Even Kiros' social media is extreme, with the Denver Post piece calling it offensive and radical. That kind of extremism just isn't Denver.
Oh, they didn't mention it. Okay. Yeah, they're smart enough not to. They're smart enough not to say it, but it's also stupid because if they don't say it, if they don't say that it's DSA, then it just like rings hollow. What do you mean? She's associated with a group that's like wanting to withdraw from NATO and abolish the U.S. Senate. I don't know what group that is. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah, Maylard Quiros isn't Denver in the same way that Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier isn't Dominican. The Democratic establishment has nothing to offer voters, so they divide communities with racism to win a fractured electorate. When people tell you who they are, believe them.
To social media's extreme, with the Denver Post piece calling it
Same shit again. Oh, social media posts. This is the rehashing of the Daria Lisa race.
offensive and radical. That kind of extremism just isn't Denver. And Maylard Quiros just isn't Denver either. Project 218 is responsible for the content of this ad.
Yeah, I wonder what those offensive posts are. Yeah, this shit ain't gonna work, okay? Yeah, of course it's not gonna work. Like secondary loose associations, not saying what the organization is on purpose because you know that especially in this district, if you openly put it in the attack ad that she's associated with the DSA, people are going to go, oh, that's awesome, actually. Oh, you mean like Zohran Mamdani, you know? A centrist admits a mistake? Wow. Yeah, I'm deleting this since I got it wrong and both being smug and just on the facts. Looking at New York 13 and how Avila Chevalier did significantly better with black voters, keeping the screenshot on here for people to dunk on. Eric Michael Garcia, what looks like a largely white crowd saying you're next in the primary to the potential first black speaker of the House. Wow. That's crazy. A lot of growth is taking place. Growth of socialism.
For progressive left in Tuesday's New York primaries, all three congressional candidates who were endorsed by New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani won. For what this means for the national political scene, we're joined by Ed O'Keefe. Ed, good morning. Okay, so Mamdani is emerging, obviously, as a kingmaker, at least here in New York so far, with remarkable influence on voters. So what do you think this Democratic Socialist sweep tells us about Democratic Party future in general, and what does it tell us about...
Oh, my God. Medicare for all is about as realistic a policy now as redistributing the means of production. Yeah, he's right on both counts, just not in the direction that he thinks he is. You know what I'm saying?
Voters right now.
We'll make that happen
two things.
too.
First of all, it tells us that New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani still has an incredible sway over New York City voters and New York City congressional districts, but he has not endorsed outside the city. And a bunch of blue Democratic districts, in essence, just became blue, or more like midnight blue instead of maybe the blue I'm wearing right now.
Or say it, Ed. Say it, you liar. There's another blue on the tip of your tongue. American flag blue. Just like our beautiful reflecting pool. Say it. You can't say it because you're too afraid. You're too afraid to say what color, what hue of blue it is. Okay? I'll say it because I'm a goddamn patriot. American flag blue.
Damn, this guy's good.